Hello, it's Attorney Mike Graven coming to you from Chicago as usual. And the day has finally come that we all suspected would come. Looks like Chile went too far. From my perspective, he's gone too far for years, but it looks like it's finally caught up to him. What I'm going to do right now, I don't have the clip unless somebody tells me where it is. I'm waiting for our Nevada judge's version of it. I have on good authority that's coming out soon, namely Alex. I also have on good authority that it did not go down well. I don't know the specifics. I don't know what happened, but that's what it is. I'm gonna kick it off with the hearing from yesterday, which I knew about, but it's a lot more interesting to me now as preparation for whatever happened today. So we'll do that. But first, for some reason, I think this is on point.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm going to sue him for malicious prosecution.
Okay.
I'm going to sue everybody involved. I'm going to sue the cops.
So,
I'm going to
Mr.
sue the
Castro,
county.
I appreciate you have an opinion. Today's just the arraignment.
I got you.
Sue everybody.
Oh, Jose de Castro? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All right, Mr. de Castro, this is an obstructing or false info charge. It is case 24-006842. Obviously, I'm going to ask you, do you understand your proceedings are being filmed?
Of course.
Okay.
They're here because I'm here.
Right, okay, and just so that the record's clear, you have no objection to that.
Of course, a big shout out to our Nevada judges. They're going to have it on their channel. They have this on the channel. They've brought us lots of good stuff. Go over there, like, subscribe, all that good business.
Of course not.
Okay.
I would like the transparency. I
Oh,
appreciate
no,
it.
that's fine. I need to ask that. City, there's no other issues for you with respect to this being filmed? Okay. All right, Mr. de Castro, did you get a copy of the complaint?
I did. Only question I have is who's the prosecutor? What's the prosecutor's name?
Well, let me ask a couple questions, and then we'll get into what your questions are. Did you review and understand this?
I don't understand it. I don't understand how I can be charged with obstruction for filming a cop.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
So I'm asking a much more basic question. You do not have to agree with this. This is
Do I
simply
understand I'm in charge with the misdemeanor?
Yes.
I do understand I'm in charge
Okay,
with the
that's
misdemeanor.
literally it.
I have trial tomorrow for the exact same thing 1 year ago.
In this jurisdiction?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't want to get into any of that.
Sure.
Today, we're just here for purposes of this. It's a
Maybe you should stop the activity that keeps getting you arrested. Just a thought.
a very procedural type of thing today for the arraignment. So you do understand what you got charged with. You do not have to agree with this. This is just an allegation. So you don't need me to read it to you.
I don't.
Okay, very good. And are you planning on hiring an attorney to represent yourself?
I will have a standby attorney for this case.
You will have a standby
Yes.
attorney. Okay.
Because I think that I'm going to win this easy. It's on film, and I wasn't obstructing
Okay.
anybody.
All right, Mr.
Is this the prosecutor, Matthew B.
Okay,
Walker?
let me do my part first, and then we can get into what it is. So, because I need to know, are you proceeding on your own? Do you want to have an attorney? Because I will give you time to talk to an attorney on your own if that's the route that you would like to go.
I will have a standby attorney
Oh, sweet
in this
Jesus.
case.
So typically, I would set this for a pre-trial to give you an opportunity to obtain discovery and for your attorney to find out whatever all is associated with this.
Sure.
So I can set that over for a pre-trial date to give you the opportunity to do that. Would you like to do that?
That'd be great.
Okay, and then what is it that you need to tell me without talking about the facts? of
I just need to know if this is the prosecutor's name. Is that the person prosecuting, Matthew B. Walker?
That is a good question. I will tell you that the city attorney is Jeffrey Dorokat, and that's the person's name on the upper left-hand corner of the complaint. Matthew Walker is a deputy city attorney who actually prosecutes this case, depends on the office.
I'm going to sue him for malicious prosecution.
Okay.
I'm going to sue everybody involved. I'm going to sue the cops.
So,
I'm going to
Mr.
sue the
Castro,
county.
Yeah, nobody
I
cares.
appreciate you have an opinion. Today's just the arraignment.
I got you.
Saying
You're
all
just-
these things,
you're
we're
just-
here
you're
for
just
your
kidding.
misdemeanor case,
Sure.
okay?
But there's a bigger issue. There's transparency in the courtroom, which is
Surely
the
is.
best thing that could possibly happen.
I
Now
think
the
so.
people get to hear that I'm going to sue Jeffrey and I'm going to sue Matthew and I'm going to sue
So
every one
here's
of
what
those
we're not
cops.
gonna do, Mr. De Castro. this is not going to be a personal pulpit for your, philosophical difference or belief. You have the media here, and that's fine. This is
Great.
an open court.
It's
But
great.
I don't want you to start saying things too far extraneous for purposes of this misdemeanor charge, because
Well-
that's what, no, do not interrupt me. Because that's what we're here for, okay? So here's the thing, I'm recording everything, and you need to be aware that that's a two-sided thing. You're representing yourself, so I'm having this conversation with you. All these statements that you're saying can also potentially be used against you because you're getting recorded. So just so you understand. So here's what we're gonna do.
Does the-
Assuming you're entering a not guilty plea,
Does the
correct?
misdemeanor carry jail time?
Possibly, yes.
Possible jail time. So you said a second ago that this is a misdemeanor case as though it's something minor, but I can be put in a dungeon and locked away.
Okay. In no way
So that's true.
did I imply that this was minor
Okay.
by
Yeah, it's a big
saying that it's a
It's a
misdemeanor.
big deal.
Okay.
Okay,
Mr.
thanks.
Castro, let's not get off on the wrong foot. I have my job to do, and I'm not trying to engage in a conversation that's adversarial with you today.
No, I'm not
I
trying to
would
either. I'm not trying. I like you a lot. I think you look like a real nice person.
Okay.
I got nothing against you
So we're
personally.
gonna enter a not guilty plea
Thank
on
you.
your behalf
Thank
today. I'm gonna reset this for a pretrial. I do need to understand, because you said you were gonna have standby counsel, so are you going to represent yourself primarily, or do you wanna have that conversation, come back with your attorney? Because there's certain procedural things I'll need to do to protect the due process and your due process, if you wanna go ahead and represent yourself.
Right. No, I'm going to have a standby attorney, and that has to do with a few different things. But I should probably consult with my attorney before I say anything, because it could be used against me later.
Absolutely, yeah, that's fine, and I would rather that you protect yourself, because we're recording, and that is where I'm coming from in the kind of conversations and comments that I'm making to you today. So you are obviously entitled to represent yourself, that is your right. But let's do this, let's get you a pretrial date, and that date, ordinary course, for private attorney will be
May 1st at 1:30.
May 1st at 1:30.
I think I have.
Do you need a different date?
I may. I may need a different date because I have a different thing in Indiana. I'm just not sure. Can I just look in my phone real
Of
quick
course.
at my calendar here? And Your Honor, I have absolutely nothing against you. I'm not in any way adversarial to you at all.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that,
I
Mr.
just,
Castro,
you know,
because we may be
yeah,
on this case
Yeah,
for
I
a
have
while.
nothing against
Okay.
you. I don't know you. You seem like a nice person to me. I couldn't possibly hold anything against you personally. So I'm just looking for the date that I have in Indiana. I sue lots of cops all around the country. I help sue lots of cops around the country if they violate people's rights. So I have a case in Indiana, but I'm just looking for the date. And that May 1st,
Yes, at 1:30.
can't talk, I'm in court. The judge is looking at me.
Is it easier if I give you a different date and then you look at that?
Well, I'm just not sure if it's May 1st or June 1st. I'm just gonna go there because I'm assisting with the financing of filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against these cops who arrested this man for filming cops. So I just want to make sure that I'm there when that happens. You know, I mean, it's a lot of work, so he's texting me back right now. I'll know the date in 1 second.
Okay,
I hate
I
to
see
waste
what
any,
you're saying.
I hate to waste any of these people's time
You're
at all
not wasting
whatsoever.
anyone's time.
I just want to make sure that, because then we have to reset it again. If it's possible for my attorney to be here and me not to be here,
Absolutely,
well, then we can set it for any date that's most
Okay.
convenient for the court.
that's fine. You
Cool.
will need to inform your attorney of that date, and then
Okay.
I'm sure they will know to appear for you. If nobody's there on that day, that would be a problem.
That would be a bad thing.
Right, so you would need to be here if in fact this is not your attorney that you're gonna hire. Because then I need to figure out, do you need more time or?
No, I already have
what you
I already
decide.
have an attorney retained.
Okay, so we will keep the May 1st, 1:30 date for your standby attorney to appear for you. And you do not need to appear on that date as long as your lawyer is here.
What time is that at, ma'am?
1:30 in the afternoon, and you are in Department 1, May 1st.
Department 1 at 1:30. Set.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right, I will
Thanks.
see you
I
and your
appreciate your
attorney on
time.
that day, or just your attorney, Mr. McCasker.
Thank you.
Okay, you too.
Well, there you have it. That was yesterday. I'm now waiting for Chile to show up. Since we have this little time together here, I'll tell you my take on it. Chile was, you know, he's been Chile since, you know, for a long time now. And he was making a fool of himself when I started doing this. And I did some videos on him, and and then I tapped out because I just can't stand him. I can't stand him. But I made a promise to myself. I've said it out here, not whatever. I've said it on stream, not that anybody noticed. But I said, you know, wake me up when he gets taken into custody. That I want to be there that day. I believe this is that day. I don't have that hearing. I'm waiting for our Nevada judges to post it. Yeah, this announcing that you're suing people constantly is hilarious. It is. But anyway, here we are, and like I just had to take a break from Chile. I have a few videos up. I have him getting smoked by Kate Peters in court, like way back, like in Boston. You know, I have a video up of him getting told the way it is by a passerby in Ohio. I had more. I took some down. I don't know. He's Chile. Y'all know who he is. You all know who he is. But I got to the point where he's thumbed his nose at everybody enough. He's too annoying. I'm like, I can't stomach this until the consequences hit, and then I can stomach it again. We shall see if that's what I suspect is the case. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I asked Alex about it, our Nevada judges. I know he was recording it, and all I really got from him is that it's ugly. I didn't even bother with the specifics. I just thought, good enough. Let me put this together. Well, he needs to start the Yelp review on the various dungeons of the United States. So I'm not lying to you here. I'm kind of time killing till he shows up. I've got other stuff, but I don't want to switch topics. I just want to keep this all Chile goofiness all the time. But what I do have, I've got a secret weapon. An awesome secret weapon. You're going to love it.
Oh, what an intro.
Bateman, what's going on, my man?
Not much.
You're going to help me kill time till we get a Chile sighting?
Of course, man.
So you saw the hearing yesterday?
Yeah, the one in municipal court in front of Judge Leung.
Yeah, do you know her?
And yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
She's super sweet.
She was, and she was very patient with him. I was like, he was driving me crazy.
Oh,
that part. Yeah, did you show it when he was like,
I just
let me look in my.
Right,
I've got to be in Indiana or whatever. I sue cops all the time, and let me check my phone.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh wait, sorry, can't talk right now." Like, what a jackhammer, dude! Seriously, no offense to jackhammer.
She cut him off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was just cringing though.
Do you know what judge this was in front of today? I mean, by the way, full disclosure to everyone out there, I started this stream, then I texted Ben. So I mean, it's not he has no like, there was no lead time for this.
Oh yeah, look here. Let's see. I just brought it up. He is in custody, huh? Can you see that? There he is. Jose
Oh no,
Castro. False statement. Yeah, it looks like he's in the Clark County Detention Center right now.
He's in the Clark County Detention Center. Have you ever been to the Clark County Detention Center?
Oh, more times than I would like. It's a magical place where dreams come true, for sure. But
That's-
yeah, he's in justice court. His case is in front of Judge Zimmerman, and she is she's a good judge. She does have a good sense of humor, but she does not suffer fools. So I am not surprised.
Oh, this just makes me want to see it more.
If he did some kind of shenanigans, then. But in that case, in the justice court case, he's got counsel. So I don't.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what-
I just watched the hearing, and then he proudly announces to this judge yesterday. He's like, I've got another I've got another case set for trial tomorrow for the same exact thing. That's not nothing to brag about there, my friend.
Yeah, you think?
So I'm wondering, like that case was set for trial today.
I believe so. Let me look it up. I'm right. Let's see.
I don't think a whole
Catching
trial
me
got
here
out.
in my office here. Let me see here. So you got me during work hours here. Let's see. This is fascinating. I know, watching me look stuff up on the internet. It's good content there.
I like it. No, this is my man on the ground, local, actual Nevada attorney.
Let's see. Here we go. Okay.
The man really.
Oh, yeah,
lives in
look.
Nevada. We hung out at the Mirage. It's for real, people.
Oh wow. Okay. So it looks like the minutes yesterday. Defendants request to convert counsel to standby counsel. Let's see. Miscellaneous said today, 319 bench trial. Matter heard. Bench trial held. Motion to exclude witnesses by state. Motion granted. Brandon witness identified defendant. Brandon Bork. That must be the cop. Defendant rest. Defense witness Jose De Castro sworn and testified. Defense rest. Motion to dismiss. Argument in favor of said motion by defense. Argument against said motion by the state. Thereupon the court found the defendant guilty. Arguments made by parties regarding sentencing.
They found. Oh, so we had the trial and found this was a bench. It had to be a bench. You can't get a jury out that fast.
No, we don't have misdemeanor jury. Well, we have misdemeanor jury trials for domestic violence.
So this was the trial. He was found guilty.
Yes.
But on a misdemeanor, I'm trying to piece this together. How does he get taken into custody? Most of the times, you're not going to get taken into custody after your first misdemeanor.
Come on, dude. Do you think that? I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but I've seen his videos. I just look, and he might be a great guy at parties, but in court he does not seem to ingratiate himself to the judge. I'm going out on a limb and saying that he didn't.
Is there a note? Is there a note in the docket that there was a contempt finding?
No, it just says judgment. Yeah, then judgment entered. Remand, cash assured. Yeah, no bail. Case closed. Minute order. Comment. Oh, both the defendant's cell phones were returned to his counsel and is in.
So he took it.
Attorney's
So
possession.
he his standby counsel now has his cell phones. I don't know why. I don't know why I enjoy that so much.
So
It's
yeah,
It's like I don't trust you represent me, but now here's all my cell phones.
yeah, take my stuff.
Oh, that's
So yeah, I don't know.
Look at you. You're already rock solid here. You're already giving me information I didn't have.
Hey, that's why you have me on.
Absolutely.
That's why you have me on. I'm just not a.
Well, it's
not just
also,
here to look good, you know. I'm here to
I was
actually
gonna say,
add
it's
substance.
also just a little trait for the ladies, you know.
Yeah, I doubt it. Poor ladies. That's why I got to make up for it with actual substantive content here. You know,
like you don't want to look up the docket just in case that doesn't carry
Yeah.
today.
So yeah, we got to make sure I add some value here to your.
All right.
To your
So
stream.
you guys tell me in the chat. Holy Toledo! If I have some mods, somebody maybe slow down the chat a little bit. I can't catch up to it because this is
it.
rock solid content. Us killing time. Us killing time until the video comes out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
this is good. I actually wanted to assemble a group for it because, all right, so now we know he gets convicted.
So I don't
wanna
know if
see
he was. I'm assuming he was probably sentenced. They probably. I don't know. I mean, I guess the minutes don't reflect.
That's what it is. So I'm guessing that
usually.
I'm guessing there's not a contempt because it would be noted in the docket. I think a finding of contempt would be noted given the specificity that you just showed. So it's sort of what I call a quasi contempt. It's not contempt per se, but you were
Right.
so irritating. I immediately sentenced you more because you're for good legal reason because your attitude sucks.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think he would, like I said, ingratiate himself to the judge. Honestly, just just seeing his videos and being, especially how he was with Judge Leung in that video, So, and who knows what he said and all the stuff he's.
Is it 180 days? James, do you
180
have this
days
right?
That's the maximum for a misdemeanor out here. So this is a simple misdemeanor. If he's convicted, yes, the maximum would be 180 days in the detention center.
Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and I was a prosecutor for 5.5 minutes. We had Class A, Class B, Class C misdemeanors, and they were defined as, Class A is 365. Class B was 180. And Class C was like 90 or something like that. I don't know.
No, we're not that complicated here. Basically, we have simple misdemeanor, which is, anything up to 180 days, and then a gross misdemeanor is up to 364 days. So we just have simple misdemeanor and gross misdemeanors, and then we have, 5 categories of felonies. From A, which is murder, rape, kidnapping, down to E. So,
how do we put $2 in his jail account? Please don't. Please don't. Oh my God,
I can tell you. You can put money on his books. Let's.
No.
While I'm here, I can bring it up. Let's see. Clark County Detention Center. Like I said, it's good content. Me looking up stuff on the
it
internet.
is.
So let's.
Are you kidding me?
You can do the in custody search, Clark County Detention Center. You need his inmate ID number. So, and you want to put, here we go. Deposit money into inmate account.
All right. No, don't give that ID number.
Well, you can look it up then and find it. Do an inmate Clark County Detention Center inmate search. You'll find him. You can, if you really want to. Yes, we won't make it easy. I guess if you're really motivated to put money on his books. Then,
you figure it out yourself.
You can look it up and do it. It's not hard. It's not hard. So, wow. So he got.
Yeah, that's true.
He got convicted, and I wonder how much.
I thought that I didn't see it closely, but I thought it was a tough case. Not, I don't think it was a bad case to bring or to prosecute, but it's just sort of, and by design, it's sort of a tough thing that has defenses associated with it.
Yeah, it's been so long. I do remember seeing the video, but this is a long time ago. When did this?
But my point is, I didn't think it was. I thought it was a reasonable thing to charge, but I didn't think it was a 2-inch putt to get a conviction. As much as I don't like him, I'm just saying the facts of the particular case.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was up to me, he'd been convicted. You certainly had enough to the statute, to cover it.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, did he? I don't. Like I said, I remember seeing the video. That happened like a year ago. But he. Do you know? I don't know. I guess the minutes aren't clear if he was convicted on both counts because he has a false statement or obstructing public officer, and then resisting a public officer. So I don't know. But I mean, this will just sort of feed in and make him more of a martyr for his for his cause, right? For his noble cause of bringing
So when they,
accountability to officers or something. Who knows?
what is it like with sentencing in Nevada? Like some states, I think like Ohio's like day for day. Like we're not kidding. Very few states are. But like let's say I don't know what the sentence is. Let's say it was 30 days. I mean, is he doing 30 days?
He'd do well, it depends. Yeah. So if he gets it depends on if he gets flat time or regular time. So if he gets sentenced to say 30 days flat, 30 days means 30 days, right? If he
Right.
gets just 30 days regular time, he gets it's basically that would be 20 days. So you get for every 3 days you get 1 day good time credit. So basically every 3 days you do
Okay.
two, for example. So that's what 30 days becomes 20.
All right. So
Because
there's
for
some.
every
I mean, I don't even know what the sentence is yet, but there's there may be some give depending on how it's sentenced.
right. So yeah, he could yeah. So if he was scheduled or if he was sentenced to 30 days regular time, then yeah, he'd be looking at about 20 days. Minus any credit he would have from when he was arrested. So if he was arrested and spent a day or two before he was released, then that would count too. The credit would be given for
All
that.
right, now I'm asking the chat. Has anybody seen a link to this? I'm looking at our Nevada judges right now. It's not up there yet, or at least it's not showing up on my screen.
Let's see. Oh, Lizard Breath wants to know how they're going to handle the city of Las Vegas case with him being in custody. Well, that happens a lot when people are in custody. If they have a hold in the city and then they don't get brought over for their county case. So yeah, if he's still, I don't know when his other case was set to May. He's got attorney, or at least a standby attorney, who can just let him know, hey, he's in custody and he gets out this day, and they'll usually continue it. But if you don't know, usually sometimes, it goes into warrant. You're like, man, where is this guy?
Well, if they could bring him over too, if it was like a status or something, not or hell, even a trial.
Sometimes, but they don't really cooperate that much between the city and the county always. So
We're getting the inside out there in Clark County, and probably 80% of the jurisdictions in the country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's looking for content. Sure. If he goes and does say, I'm just making this up. He goes and does 30 days. He's going to come out and whine like a big blubbering baby about how he got railroaded in Nevada, and he'll get some views out of it. And then, then I think he'll get lit up again on the same charge, and it's going to snowball on him.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is what he does, right? Holding
here he is.
Cops accountable.
There we go, everybody. Delete Lawz from the Clark County Detention Center. No, it's not. I know that's going to be a dupe account. I've been getting delete Lawz on here for years.
Everything I said is just my mere opinion and no statement of fact.
Although I have gotten direct emails from Mr. DeCastro.
Oh yeah.
And they were just as eloquent as you would suspect.
Well,
I'm just
I expect a lot from a constitutional scholar. That's how he describes himself, and so I would expect lovely eloquence and beautiful prose. And hey, I hate to do this. I got to make a phone call before the end of the day. I can hop back on, but let me.
Go do what you got to do.
I'm still working here, so if you'll excuse me.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. All right. Is there a link to this thing yet? Somebody tell me. No link yet? Thank you, Biggin. Oh. Well played. Well played. I like it a lot. Oh. Let me see here. All right, I'm looking on there. I don't see it. Let me see here. Let me see what I got here. Let me see if we can do a. Let me see if we can just do a retro Chile while we wait. I'll find one. Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Raven coming to you from Chicago. As usual, Chile was in court. He failed miserably. And I've got the video. The video's all over the place right now, but I had a whole bunch of people asking me to comment on it. So let's get it started, shall we? This is it.
All right, good morning, everyone. Before I have the parties introduce themselves, we have the court's attention that there are a number of people on the Zoom who have an interest in the outcome of this proceeding. I just wanted to let all the Zoom users know, first, you're obviously welcome to be here. This is a public and open space and forum, but there is no recording of the Zoom that is going to be allowed or tolerated. The court is also not going to tolerate any interruptions or interference with the proceedings in any way, shape, or form. Any violation of those orders.
Speaking of which, that reminds me, I don't know who I took this from, and I want to give them credit. I took it from their channel, but I'll put a link to it in the description below. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Oh, shoot. If someone knows, if someone can recognize it, tell me in the chat where I took this from. So I can give them a shout out.
Will be grounds for contempt and sanctions will be imposed. So I just expect everyone's cooperation with the court's order. And now can I have Madam Clerk swear in the parties, and then you'll identify yourself.
Mr. DeCastro and the two defendants, please raise your right hand. Raise your right hand, Mr. DeCastro.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly and civilly swear that the statement you're about to give this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, I got it from Dummy Kruger. It came across my feed. I've never been to Dummy Kruger before, but that is where I got it from. And if you want to hear this without me talking over it, that's where I got it from. Thank you.
You all, I have before me Mr. DeCastro's two requests for harassment orders against Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters. Mr. DeCastro, are you seeking to have these orders issued against these two individuals?
Oh, yes, please. I would definitely have those orders issued. It's beyond the scale of anything reasonable. It's incredible. it's
All
astonishing.
right, so before you tell me anything else, sir, I'm going to handle this one party at a time. I did read your affidavit for both of your requests. I want you to first explain to me why I should issue an order against Mr. Abrams based on what you've put in your affidavit. And then Mr. Abrams, you'll have an opportunity to respond after he tells you. Just please don't interrupt him, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. DeCastro.
Well, Your Honor, on August 30th, 2022, in a video called Search Success, Delete Lawz Communications, found Josh Abrams, who's 7 times a felon, who's just got out of prison from armed robbery.
So, Mr. DeCastro, I'm going to stop you right there. I have the benefit of having Mr. Abrams' record here in front of me. That's not the issue before me. The issue before me is what specifically you're suggesting he may have said or done to cause you to come into court and request this harassment order. So I want you to stick to the facts as they pertain directly to you.
So in the video, he's driving around Boston actively looking for me, working in conjunction with Kate Peter. They have a
First of all, this is a complete lie from him from the get. I did a video on this called when Chile met Kate. When it happened, I just happened to catch it like that day. I did a video on it, so I'm intimately familiar with at least this portion of it. And I also love the judge. The judge is just straight to the point. She's a perfect pro for this scenario. She doesn't get overheated, and she's just telling it the way it is. But yeah, what he's saying is simply not true. He arrived at this thing, and Josh later comes and says it, but he arrived with Josh Abrams, and they were buddies. That's how it started.
Technology hasn't caught up with the laws yet, and that's what this case is truly about. The reason why your courtroom is so full of people is because there's internet trolls, Your Honor. When you say the word troll, you have to change the name troll to harasser or harassment. They call it a troll in today's era, but it's just harassing someone else or being a nuisance or causing them
So,
stress.
Mr. DeCastro, you say that Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters were driving around Boston looking for you, and is that one of the reasons why you're asking for this order?
Oh yeah, Your Honor. They have.
When did that happen?
That was on August 30th, 2022. My assistant.
Have there been any other incidents?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Have there been any other incidents since this August 30th incident, or them driving around and looking for you?
Yeah. So I was in Boston and New Hampshire from around August 28th till September 5th or so, September 7th. And Miss Peter visited my home where I was in Boston visiting with a friend. She took a picture. Now, the incoming documents that I have from my assistant will show you, I've already called the police on this woman over Memorial Day. The police were already involved. It already became a physical interaction.
Mr. DeCastro, are you talking to me about Ms. Peters right now?
They work in conjunction, Your Honor, so sometimes the stories kind of blur. I apologize. They work in
So I'm
conjunction.
focusing on Mr. Abrams right now. I want you to limit what you're telling me to what he may have said or done that caused you to come into court and request this order. And I appreciate that there may be some overlap.
As usual, I always say this, he understands no law on any level, nothing. We have a hearing. You're seeking a temporary protection order against 2 individuals. That's actually 2 separate orders, one for one individual, one for the other. We're starting with Josh Abrams. And she's saying, oh, give me your basis for seeking this order with respect to him. And then he starts crying about Kate.
And you might have to repeat yourself when it's time for me to hear from Ms. Peters, but I want you to address specifically and solely what you're alleging Mr. Abrams has done.
Well, Your Honor, so I know you have his record in front of you, but being a felon is a scary thing. And then he was actively on a video, driving around, accepting donations, looking for me while I was in Boston. And what Kate Peters does is she marks my location.
He wasn't looking for you. He was with you. You guys were palling around. I have the video. I have it. They can go on Let's Talk with Mike and see it. I'm tooling on both of you.
And then she sends a troll farm, a harassment farm after me. Where the laws have not caught up to where we are. I've got a bunch of affidavits from people who went down, swore statements, and got it notarized for you to read. There's 4 different people who she's done this to previously who have written these sworn statements that are notarized. My assistant's on his way to your court now to give you those 4 different affidavits. This is beyond incredible, Your Honor. You can't imagine what I'm going through. You can't even fathom it. They're stalking me. And Josh drove around saying he's looking for me.
You can't fathom it. It's all over the internet. It's very simple concept. I mean, it doesn't really matter because she doesn't care. She has zero respect for him and shouldn't. But like, it's condescending too. It's like, oh, this is beyond your reach, Judge. She's like, you whatever. Just say whatever you got to say.
Due respect to you, Mr. DeCastro, you've told me about two things, one of which was on or about August 30th, where you say that Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters were driving around looking for you. And then you tell me about August 28th.
They were not. They were not.
Through August 9th, where perhaps a photograph of you was taken.
No,
So it's not clear to me what exactly you're experiencing or going through, and I'm asking you to be clear.
So, okay. On August 30th, Kate Peter posted a picture of herself at the lobby of the apartment I was staying in Boston. What that does when she posts the picture, which my system will have in a moment, is on the police report now, she marks where I'm at. And then once my location is marked, she has 25,000 professional harassers who will look up where I'm at, my location, anybody that owns anything around me that I'm associated with, and then they'll inundate them. That's what the 4 affidavits are other people who these people will mass contact in an attempt to harass me. And so they went to my place in Boston. She literally posted a picture on her community page on YouTube. I believe it was August 29th or August 30th, September 2nd. I have the actual photograph. And then I was staying at a summer home out in New Hampshire in the middle of nowhere. They drove out there, put up a sign that said, Kate always wins, put up balloons. I have pictures of all of the stuff in the text messages with the people whose house.
Okay, that's pretty funny. I didn't know about that part. If he's right about that, that's funny. She certainly wins today.
They went to that freaked them out because it's in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire. They had to drive 100 miles to get there. So it was.
And when was this New Hampshire incident, sir?
What's that?
When was this New Hampshire incident?
It would have been September 5th, September 6th. I have screenshots of the text messages coming from the homeowners saying, what the heck is this? Who are these people coming out? They were alarmed and they fired my friend who works for them. He had to fight for his job back because they were so spooked. Mrs. Ma'am, this is so armed. I don't think you understand what's going on. She just marks the location and then they come after you. And my other affidavits also notarized. You'll be able to read it yourself. I mean, it's taken me a month to put everybody together, so I don't know these people that she just contacted. You know, it's crazy. I have a federal tort lawsuit against both of them. So now that I have the tort lawsuit served, now I can get a subpoena for Airbnb, where they came to my Airbnb on May 22nd. They marked my location. They put it in Kate's Discord server called the Chile Watch Discord server. And then they came to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and tapped on my windows and doors. I grabbed my gun. I was terrified. I was in Ohio. And then the next day, someone walked into my house. I put a gun to his head because I didn't know who it was.
Let me ask you this, Mr. DeCastro.
He was so terrified he left Ohio, but not because of that, but because they have a warrant out for his arrest.
Why do you think Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters are doing this?
Ma'am, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a thing on the internet now. It's called trolling, but it's called harassment. And what they do is they get as many people.
I understand what harassment is, sir. I understand what trolling is, but my question is, why would they be trolling or harassing you?
Yeah, that puts me right in mind of his video explaining where the community tab is. He's like, Judge, there's this thing called harassment and trolling. The gall, the unmitigated gall to say to a judge in a black robe in a nice courtroom who seems to know what the hell she's doing, there are these things called trolling and harassment, as if she doesn't live on this planet and is not aware. Oh my Lord!
That's how they make money on us. They make money by finding someone who has a big personality. It's not just me. They'll attach to any person. They've been doing this for years. I have affidavits by people who also have the same story as I do. And matter of fact, Kate has a criminal case coming up where she violated a harassment protection order last month. She has a criminal case coming up this week. And then another guy also has a harassment protection order in this court on Friday, and then another one in New Hampshire on Monday. I mean, the law is finally catching up to this woman, but this is what she does for a living. She finds someone who's really outgoing, has a big personality, and then she attaches them and harasses them professionally with 25,000 harassers. She pays people. Your Honor, if I can question her, you'll see what she's doing is criminal. I can prove it right here in this courtroom today. I can prove what she's doing is criminal.
So, Mr. DeCastro, it sounds like you're saying a lot of she's and hers. It sounds like the bulk of what you're telling me relates to Ms. Peters and not to Mr. Abrams.
They're pretty cracked, Your Honor. They're hip to hip. So Josh Abrams, what he did, Your Honor, and I have thousands of text messages. He faked being my friend, and the whole time he was acting like he was my friend, he was giving my location to Kate Peters so that she could bombard me. She showed up and physically had physical interaction with me, where I went to the police and I filed a police report because we physically interacted. Remember, I don't know her. I've never dated her. We weren't friends. We weren't coworkers. I don't know this woman. She just does this to people on the internet. And what she does, though, remember, she's just the marker. She marks your location. And then she says, it wasn't me that came to your house and put dog shit on your doorstep, which I have a video from the company to show you. They put dog poop all over the door and broke my doorknob. My van was stolen out of my driveway 3 weeks ago. It's scary. I mean, whether I like it or not, I'm not afraid of Captain Peter. I'm afraid she's the marker. And then the bad people come after.
Wait, are you afraid of her or you're not afraid of her? Because you were crying like a baby about her just a minute ago.
And there's a guy named Joseph Hart who wrote me an affidavit. He explained she did the same thing to him, and he almost got hurt badly. I have a sworn affidavit from him coming in.
So, sir, you're referring to affidavits, which I don't have in front of me, so I'm not going to consider that. Now, what I am going to do right now is turn it over to Mr. Abrams to get.
Oh, Chile, if only you knew some law. I mean, I know you're a self-appointed constitutional law expert, but for a self-appointed constitutional law expert, A, you hate the Constitution with a passion, specifically the First Amendment in this case, and B, you have no idea about anything else involving law.
Give him an opportunity
including
to address what you've told the court. Sir, in the back, please put those papers down. You're not a part of this proceeding.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, if you cannot comply with the court's orders to not interfere with this hearing, you'll be ejected from the courtroom. I don't want to have to do that. The parties before me are Mr. DeCastro, Mr. Abrams, and Ms. Peters, and no one else.
Okay, I don't know what this is, but apparently he's associated with Chile. So Chile's not there, but he sends somebody to do stupid stuff. I didn't know it at the time. I just watched this once, and then we find out, no, it's Chile's guy. Of course.
That might be my assistant, Your Honor, with the paperwork.
Well, and your assistant is not you, Mr. DeCastro.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Abrams right now to give him an opportunity to respond to what he can make of what you've told the court. Mr. Abrams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
If I could give just a little bit of background to explain how I.
John, by the way, I'm doing a happy hour at 4. You're welcome to join me.
Know this gentleman. Thank you. I did meet him through YouTube. We had not met personally. We travel within the same YouTube sphere or community where we do the same type of social media. At that point, we became friends. I started following him, and at one point, he did come to Massachusetts to go out.
This actually surprises me because I was all over on Josh Abrams, who was acting kind of like a fool. But what was happening is it was dawning on him that what Chile is really like live on the video. So when I did my video, I was like making fun of Josh Abrams, but Josh Abrams was getting uncomfortable with it. And it's interesting. And then he comes here, and both Josh and Kate do a fantastic job stating their case.
Film with me. There was an incident at a Memorial Day parade in Stoneham, Massachusetts, where we attended with the intent of filming the parade, some of the police officers there, and anything in the surrounding area. At one point during the parade, now myself and Ms. Peters actually have somewhat of a contentious past. Her job in some capacity is to report or give oversight or reviews of things that I do. So we do know each other, but it wasn't always in a friendly manner. We rarely ever spoke.
This is completely honest. What Josh is saying here, they're whatever. They're both doing the internet thing or whatever, but they're on opposing sides. It's exactly what he's portraying to the judge, and it's true. And then they sort of, at least switch sides to the extent of, got on the same side with respect to Chile as a result of this incident, but not before.
But in this incident at this parade, which is still live and available on Mr. DeCastro's channel, Delete Lawz, he started walking up to several children, mostly female, between the ages of approximately 6 and 9, and was...
Mr. DeCastro, please do not interrupt the proceeding. The warning that I provided applies to you as well. Go ahead and say something.
Thank you, Your Honor.
By the way, Chile definitely earned a contempt in this case several times, specifically at the very end, you'll see. And she doesn't want to do it. It's certainly within her discretion. She didn't have to, but like that kind of stuff. Again, if I did that, contempt, rung up. I can't just openly laugh in people's faces while they're testifying or saying something I disagree with. You can't do it. But he always gets treated with kid gloves because he's simple.
Still on this live video, it shows him walking up to these young children, stating that the police will rape them, to not trust the police, and never call the police. About this time, I started separating myself from him because I am an absolute free speech advocate, but I feel like parenting someone's children is unacceptable, but this behavior was even more so. Miss Peters did show up to, kind of troll us, to get us on video now, and for us to have an interaction, which I had no problem with. I did not feel threatened by it. It's the internet, you know what I mean? She was not saying anything hateful or anything that put me in fear. It seems that Mr. DeCastro immediately became upset. His live stream, also my video, is on the internet now as well. It's gone somewhat viral, where at this point he sees now Miss Peters doing the same thing that he's doing. She's following behind him and saying, I'm with him, I'm with him. On 3 separate occasions, as seen in video, he actually steps back and body checks into her. There are 3 different points where he physically shoves her, one from about 3 to 4 feet. It's captured very clearly in video.
Mr. Abrams, I'm going to interrupt just for 1 second.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
date was this?
This was on Memorial Day, Your Honor.
This past year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead.
At this point, the police did see what was going on. They said on the video and in their report that, we saw what you were doing. You're trying to bump into her. You're pushing her. He at that point asked if he could tase her or assault her. The police told him that if he did that, that could end in criminal charges. The police asked all of us to leave for the sake of the children. One last time, when the police officer turned his back, again captured on video, he turned around and elbowed Miss Peters' wrist.
He being Mr. DeCastro.
Correct, Your Honor. Causing the phone to actually fall from her hand. At this point, as you can see from his live stream and my video, he became so physically enraged going after her that I physically, now this is someone that's supposed to be my friend, I'm now physically holding him back from someone I've had a contemptuous relationship with, because I'm now concerned that his behavior is either going to hurt Miss Peters or some of the children that are nearby. At that point, the issue, our friendship quickly went downhill. Mr. DeCastro appeared for a restraining order, which I was a witness on behalf of Miss Peter, just several days after this event.
He's tried to get one against her.
Yes, ma'am. This is his second attempt. It was first at the Woburn District Court. It was not given to him, and much the same as in this case, a date was set up for us to be heard in front of a judge. And in front of that case, the judge again said that there was no warrant or merit. However, when we went on break from that courtroom, as Ms. Peter was present, I went outside. Mr. DeCastro first found out that I was being a witness for her at that date. So as he's just now found out, we're now in recess from court. I immediately started receiving, which I've saved.
What date was that?
This was, do you remember the date of that? June 12th, possibly, Your Honor.
Okay.
I immediately started receiving text messages, nothing threatening, but as a witness against him, I felt that it was inappropriate to now be receiving text messages saying that what I was doing was wrong and how saddened he was, but there was nothing physically threatening. At this point, Your Honor, I did start doing videos on Mr. DeCastro as these videos became public interest. Oftentimes, as you can see, the videos are of me watching his...
This is honest to a fault. I mean, first of all, I did a video on that video, so his recitation of the video is exactly in line with what I saw. I will say that for Josh. And I was making fun of him on the video. and whatever. And then he just comes into, well, then I started doing videos on it because, well, they were getting views. This whole thing is fascinating.
Live streams, reviewing things that he said, correcting certain things that he has said. And Mr. DeCastro's affirmation on his affidavit for this restraining order today, he said he gave my location to Kate Peters, causing the intimidation or danger. I didn't. A lot of what Mr. DeCastro says relates to trolls and people that I have 90,000 viewers, 23 million views. I certainly cannot make people do anything. It's very clear in my videos. I always say that in no way would I wish for people to contact him. In no way am I asking for people to contact him. This is the internet. People leave comments on my things that I don't like. People leave comments on his things that I don't like. But it should be kept in mind that on the date that he's saying that, I went to follow him, what Mr. DeCastro failed to remit to the court is that he was on a live stream interviewing in public at a public place in Boston. He also announced that he had service with me. I believe the gentleman standing here today, I'm not aware of his name, but that is one of his friends or his colleagues that is now trying to stand up and I believe maybe serve us. But we were served a loss.
Oh, good Lord. Is this supposedly a process server? You don't need a process server in court. It's, maybe for one of us other bogus suits that's also going down in flames. It's all too good. It's a circus. The court is doing great. The judge is awesome. It's a nice courtroom and the decorum is good. Everything else is rock solid. Fine. You bring a BS case. This is the way it gets dealt with. That's it. It was handled seriously, and it's kind of cool to watch the process deal with this nonsense, but in a dignified way.
Lawsuit or attempted lawsuit from this gentleman. So I went to get service. That's what and this gentleman apparently is doing his service for him. You can see this gentleman in the video. So I absolutely
know that you were going to be served.
He made public statements, Your Honor, letting me know that there was a lawsuit, that he came to
on the live stream.
Yes,
on that. I'll
yes, Your Honor.
Date. Okay.
On several live streams that he came to Boston to serve both myself and Miss Peter. That he was contacting a constable, that he was going to serve me, and I live with my elderly mother. And to avoid constables, and I work all day, so to avoid constables or people she doesn't know showing up at the house. He said, I'm going to serve Mr. Abrams as soon as I can and when I feel like it. So I felt that if he was with the person who's now available trying to serve me now when he's first seen me, then I would go and get the lawsuit.
Thank you, Sean George. She's one of the people who wrote me into this thing.
In hand. He wound up ending his stream. I did not seek to go find him after that. I did conduct several more videos, but nothing certainly with credible threats or fighting words. He says that I announced that I was working with several Discord accounts as he traveled the city to find Jose. I believe this is the incident that he's referring to, Your Honor. I was on a live stream. I did not have the capacity to operate in Discord, and the Discord that he's referring to has over 2,000 people in it, most of whom I only know by a moniker or a tag name. I don't know these people. I don't ask them to go to Mr. Peters, to Mr. DeCastro's house. I would ask that my record has no relevance, although I recognize my record. In this case, it seems to be confusing, as today I've brought as evidence. I was on a live stream just 2 days ago, and this is a gentleman that's saying he's in fear of his life to the point that I must need to be physically restrained by a court order. He's not verbalized anything that would put him in fear that I have done directly, either that or indirectly, or provided proof. He has, however, said in a live stream recently, for someone that is quite scared of me, he took the time to, I went on to a live stream, Your Honor, when he was there, and he dropped off, and then I continued a conversation with the channel owner for about 20 minutes, and we were talking about a case that they were covering or reviewing. At that point, Your Honor, he found it necessary, being scared for his life, intimidated by me, to come up on live stream. I have a video, about 30 seconds of that today, where he came on the live stream. He called me a rapist. He called me a fat piece of shit, which is his freedom of speech to do so. And then he made, on two separate occasions during this live stream, two separate fist gestures, and he told me that he better hope that,
So if there's any foul language, I'm going to ask you to abbreviate. Don't say the full word.
Yes, ma'am. My apologies. He said, you better hope when I find you there's no cameras, because, you better hope there's somebody to save you. And I have that today. I brought it with me, made a fist gesture. Later on during the live stream, he told me I was going to get it. Again, Mr. DeCastro made a fist gesture on about approximately 4 other live streams. He said publicly how he could, he didn't say he was going to, Your Honor. He said he could beat the SH out of me. So these are all documented instances of Mr. DeCastro actually making violent threats against me. More so, Your Honor, I believe that this has nothing to do with any legal proceedings or Mr. DeCastro feeling in harm, in jeopardy, in any way for myself or Miss Peters. I did bring video today as well, which I'm obliged to provide to the court, of Mr. DeCastro saying, I don't care if this goes anywhere. I'm just going to keep going after them legally. I'm going after them over and over again, and I'm going to take every dime they have until they can't afford a lawyer, until I destroy them. He quotes, obliterate them. I believe that this is a vexatious attempt, more so proving Ms. Peters' interaction with him, where this is the first time I'm in court, but we went to a local court out of my jurisdiction. A judge denied it. We went in front of another judge, Your Honor. A judge denied that as well. We're here today, Your Honor. He cites that Ms. Peters has several different court dates coming up. It's actually from the same thing. They applied, this gentleman, I believe, if that's the correct person, filed for, again, a restraining order against her. It was denied out of New Hampshire. So when it was denied out of Hampshire, that's the hearing date, much like today that he has coming up. So it's not a separate date.
Agreed. Josh is really well spoken. I'm shocked. Like I said, I was making fun of him, and he deserved it. He showed up at this thing and was like being supportive of Chile, and as a result, I'm thinking, you know, you're not making a lot of sense. And he was in a very awkward spot, and he doesn't make a lot of sense, and he's made a lot of mistakes. But for today's purposes, he is giving a nice, articulate version of events and making a good argument. Honestly, I'll call it straight.
Then came to Massachusetts to do it again. It appears, Your Honor, that this is an attempt to either substantiate his lawsuit, but in no way, shape, or form have I, or do I believe Mr. DeCastro has proved today that I have uttered any true threats or fighting words, that I have
But just to go
personally...
through his affidavit, on May 30th of this year, you're suggesting, he's saying you gave his location to Kate Peters. You're saying he was live streaming.
Yes, ma'am. The video is still up, Your Honor. The video, and I believe the last time I checked, it had 11 point something thousand views. Mr. DeCastro, 95% of his videos are actually live stream. And I believe the video on this date, he was actually questioning people about if they were aware of their constitutional rights. He was live for about an hour and a half.
And just credit to my point, as he live streamed, his location was known and knowable.
Yes, ma'am. Especially where he was live streaming, because he was showing where he was at. He was talking about the significance of the building he was standing in front of.
Okay.
You know, and secondly, I did not send anything in Discord because as he was live, Your Honor, I was live as well. And, you know, I can't during a live stream then leave the live stream and go through Discord. I think Mr. DeCastro mistakes and confuses whether it's his knowledge or lack thereof concerning things that if someone does something or they say, oh, you're a jerk because, you know, Josh or Accountability for All said this or said that, that is not me. That is, you know, my company, what I do, I portray a character online. I cover civil rights issues on my backup channel. I cover more public interest events. Because of this case, Your Honor, because this is public interest, I've covered this quite a bit more.
Mr. Abrams, you denied that on August 30th. You didn't announce, well, if you did announce that you were working with Discord accounts, it wasn't with the intent to have anyone else go and find him.
No, Your Honor. I didn't announce that I was working with Discord. I did personally say, Your Honor, in complete and total honesty, that I was going to try and find, because this gentleman here was with him and is his assistant, his server for legal documents. So I did try and make an appearance to go there so I could get served. He ended an hour before I was able to get there.
And again, on August 30th, that was another live stream where during that live stream,
I think he's actually referring to the same one, Your Honor. There was only one live stream, and I still have it, that I ever went in search of him.
Was there never an August 30th incident as far as you're concerned?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's referring to the same incident. I could be wrong. Maybe it was mentioned in a panel or like a talk show venue where I was reciting the incident that happened.
All right.
But there was not a second time where I attempted to find him. And my actions were warranted, Your Honor, because my mother, she's 76. She is elderly. She's a retired government employee.
Understood. I understand
showed up at her
why
home.
you may have traveled to wherever he was to try to get the service that he was suggesting he wanted to serve upon you. On September 2nd, he says you physically went searching for him, even asking for funds. What do you say to that suggestion?
Your Honor, I believe again that when we're talking about the dates where I was going to find him, I believe this stems from the same live stream that I did when I was out with another gentleman that is here in court today, and we were taking video in probably about 30 minutes from Boston of a car accident. I believe that's the issue that he's talking about. I never went to give his location to Ms. Peters, and I did ask for funds. However, that was because, Your Honor, YouTube does not pay till the 22nd. I have to appear now in court for what I believe, for all intents and purposes, is vexatious litigation. So I did explain and recount the best of my ability and my honesty what happened, my history with Mr. DeCastro, where we are at now legally with both pending civil matters as in the restraining order case and the federal lawsuit. And I have been asking that if anyone would like to contribute funds to that matter, it is greatly appreciated. We were not able to reach that goal, obviously, as I'm representing myself here today.
All right, I'm going to stop you, Mr. Abrams, and Ms. Peters. I'm going to
Wait, did Abrams throw a grift into his argument there? Oh, Lord. He was doing so great until then.
have you come up now and address the court. Mr. DeCastro, you have an opportunity to address. No, you'll have an opportunity to address everything that was said after Ms. Peters is done. The reason I'm doing it this way, sir, is because your presentation, you lumped them both in together. So it makes sense for me to hear from the both of them. And then you can address at the end. So I'm going to ask you to mute yourself so I can hear from Ms. Peters.
Good morning, Your Honor. We can just stick to the affidavit here, otherwise it can get extremely convoluted. I apologize for the circus. This is, for all intents and purposes, a spectacle that is, going on in front of thousands of people. I do run a YouTube channel. Mr. DeCastro, in my opinion, has been most vehemently going after me because I am female. I am more successful than he is. He seems to take exception to that. I've been a very harsh critic.
I don't know if that's true now. It doesn't really matter, but I really like how she kicks it off with, I'm more successful than he is. Not a great argument, but it's hilarious.
Of his, my speech is protected. It contains no true threats and no fighting words whatsoever. Mr. DeCastro, on the other hand, since the 7th, when he asked for this order, has issued a number of veiled threats at me, telling me that I'm, going to have people show up at this courthouse. He actually has someone in the courthouse right now who has filed for a restraining order in New Hampshire against me that it was denied. He actually has an active harassment order against me right now, so I have to be here. This gentleman doesn't. I find it preposterous that these men are purporting to be afraid of me, but then going out of their way to be at the same venue that I am. This is just an ongoing campaign to chill my
You're
free
saying
speech.
this other person has a harassment order against
Active
you,
right now.
not Mr. DeCastro.
No, Dane came in the courthouse. He came here of his own volition, knowing that I was going to be here, right?
This is the gentleman. Sir, it's not your time to speak. Mute yourself, Mr. DeCastro. This is your last warning. This gentleman in the back of the courtroom with the
In the
sunglasses.
glasses right there. This is the second time that I've encountered this gentleman. The first time was in West Roxbury District Court when I was on a matter that did not concern Mr.
I mean, that is so incredibly stupid. So they keep filing these things to harass her, honestly. And so she has to be in court, and then they show up, and there's some restraining order, which is nonsense. But, there's nothing she can do. She's supposed to be in court. Yeah, and it just shows they're completely full of it. They're not afraid of anything.
DeCastro or Mr. Zane. They accosted me in the courthouse 4 times. They had to be removed by court officers 4 times. They then waited for me outside of the courthouse.
Okay. Take your time.
They
Let's
waited
get
for me
back to the
outside of the
affidavit.
courthouse.
Let's get back to Mr. DeCastro's affidavit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've never stalked him physically. He can claim that I have for the court's consideration, although I would appreciate it. I understand that usually evidence would be shared with the plaintiff. This is my location history for the last 4 months. I don't want him to know where I go.
I don't see it.
But I have not left the state. I don't really leave the South Coast. I have 2 children. I'm employed full-time as a property manager. This YouTube is my second venture, really. So I've never physically stalked him. I've never showed up anywhere where he was going to be. I've never caused any physical altercation.
What about this Memorial Day parade?
Oh, I did at that point. It was YouTube content. He was yelling at children. He was scaring children. I went up. I was a disruptor, and it's constitutionally protected behavior. He took great exception to it, again, because I believe I'm female, and he doesn't like being stood up to by a female. And he proceeded to physically assault me numerous times. He threatened me. He threatened me in the presence not only of Mr. Abrams and hundreds of onlookers, but police officers as well.
And portions of this assault were caught on video, were captured on video? Were portions of this assault captured on video?
It was captured on video. I declined to file charges.
He says that you physically caused a physical interaction.
In the same way that Mr. DeCastro recently wished bone cancer on children and then apologized and said that I caused him to say that. It's a page out of the abuser's handbook. He's blaming me for his behavior. At no
All of this is correct and on video. I mean, I know most of you know that, but for those of you who don't, everything she's saying is true. He has that on video. He pushed her. It's on video. This thing is insane from the inception.
Point did I physically strike or physically approach Mr. DeCastro in a way that would invite being assaulted? He's the only one who assaulted.
August 2nd, he says you mass tracked. I'm not quite sure what it says, and I think he said you got him canceled. What do you say to that?
I got him canceled. He's here. I don't even know what that means. No, I mass tracked. He live streams his location. Mr. DeCastro, clearly, as we can see, is in his deportment before the court. He is a divisive and kind of abrasive individual. He's broadcasting himself to potentially millions of people. I cannot control that they don't like him. So he is getting trolled online. He always gives the reaction that people are trying to elicit. You know, he constantly sort of behaves in a way that people find to be vile and objectionable. People online react to that. I have no control over that. He can't point to one instance where
I cannot control that people don't like him.
I've ever ordered anyone to do that. That's preposterous. I cover him because I consider it to be public interest. It is my YouTube channel. It's a source of income, which he takes great ire for, but it's at no point am I, personally making contact with him or threatening him or putting him in any fear. I mean, again, he's got his associates burying me with paperwork, asking the courts to civilly restrain me and then show up at the venue that I'm at.
August 6th, he says you got him kicked out of his Airbnb.
No, that's, again, preposterous. I would like to see how I did that.
I looked. I don't see it on.
And then,
right now.
sort of reverse order, he says June 12th of this year, he stalked you. You stalked him physically.
To his Airbnb, again, I have my location information. No, I'm not stalking him physically. I mean, as far as to paraphrase the law, I'm certainly not an attorney nor judge, but I mean, stalking has an element of physical danger written in there. At no point can he point to any time that I've, even put him under the impression that he's physically in danger of me. If anything, I would say the contrary is true. He's made numerous threats against both myself and Mr. Abrams and anyone who dares to criticize him online.
And do you agree with Mr. Abrams that the two of you sort of were contentious before?
Extremely. I put out this man's entire criminal record at some points, and been very, very harshly critical of his treatment of police officers. We have different, but I mean, apparently we can both align in this goal, which is that, this man is abusing the court systems and it needs to stop. And I would hope that it would stop today. He did not come in here asking the courts to give him protection. What he is expecting the courts to do and has been very vocal about is to exercise prior restraint on my free speech.
Is there anything else you want me to know, ma'am?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. DeCastro, now's your opportunity to address everything that you've heard in the form of a closing argument, okay?
Your Honor, if we don't introduce my witness and the evidence, the trial be adjusted. You're listening to people stand up there and give you a story with no evidence.
Mr. DeCastro, I need you to slow down your speech. I need you to slow down your speech because I'm having a difficult time understanding what you're saying. It's very muffled in this courtroom, so slow down.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, Your Honor, is I'd like to bring in my evidence because what you're listening to right now is a couple of people who they're not the good people in there. Now, what I did.
They're not good people. What are you, 3? Come on.
I became a national figure when I created a timeline that shows the history of lynchings in our country in comparison to the history of the prison charge. I became a national figure.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Now, people started to recognize me. These people, what they've done now is they're stalking me through private Discord accounts with anonymous people. Now, you're listening.
Mr. Castro, I have a hard time understanding how you're being stalked if you are publicly displaying your location by way of your live streams. Are you not live streaming?
Ma'am, if you don't let me talk, then you won't hear me.
I have a question, though. I have a question for you. I need you to answer my question.
Right.
Are you live streaming your location?
No, ma'am, listen. You don't understand what is.
Oh my God. First of all, it's not ma'am, it's judge or your honor. Second of all, this isn't a free-flowing conversation at the bar. The judge has the right to ask you questions. Third, you're failing miserably, but we all knew that.
What's happening is criminal. I'd like to introduce evidence at this point. You're just hearing stories. I spent the last 2 weeks.
With all due respect, Mr. DeCastro, stories or testimony is evidence. So I'm taking your testimony just like I'm taking the testimony of Ms. Abrams and Peter.
I mean, you're not letting me finish at all. One is a 7-time felon, and the other one is on mandatory state medication that he lost to over 4 kids. Ma'am, these are bad.
None of those issues are relevant for my consideration, sir. There is a particular statute that applies here.
They're not telling you the truth, and you're not looking at the evidence. I'd like to call my witness, Dane Kane, and start to introduce real evidence and affidavits from people who she also stalked, harassed, and caused major fear and anxiety. I'd like to call my witness with all the evidence I prepared for the past 2 weeks. I'd like to introduce the evidence and not just people talking. I'd like to introduce sworn affidavits from other people.
I'm not going to consider the affidavits, sir. Those are hearsay.
Your Honor.
He just doesn't know what to say to that. They are hearsay. Affidavits are statements where you say what you'd say if you were called in court, but you don't. They don't need to take them. You need to call the witness if you want to do that. But he's going nowhere. This judge is already done with him, and rightfully so. She knows that. She gave him his chance. He just wasn't making any sense.
You have to look at the videos that she makes. This is insane. You're listening to people who are putting on a good front, but they're the bad people. This is beyond reasonable.
We're back to they're the bad people. I mean, that's the level of argument this mope has. I'm a good person. They're a bad person. Me must win. Okay.
I'm trying to explain to you. At least 3 events, I'd like to call my witness so he can testify what he's been through by just knowing me. And let him introduce his evidence.
What he's been through is not relevant for me to determine if you've experienced something such that you should receive an order.
Right. I'm receiving.
So again, Mr. DeCastro, I need you to address what Ms. Peters and Mr. Abrams have said.
Everything they said is a lie. It's not true at all. Nothing they said was truthful, Your Honor. I got the video to show you.
Everything that guy just says bullshit. Thank you.
You won't for some reason you won't accept it. I sent the man there from New Hampshire. He did get his protection order. She violated it immediately. She violated a harassment protection order last week against a woman named Lauren. This is what she does for a living.
Are you a party to that order, sir?
You have to take, as a judge, all relevant information that could be pertinent to the case.
Are you a party to that order?
Are you going to let me?
Is that a no?
I'm not. Are you going to let me introduce my evidence and call my witness?
I'm asking you if you're a party to the order involving Ms. Peters and someone else.
Are you going to allow me to interject?
Okay, so again, Mr. DeCastro, I need you to stay on point and speak to me about what I just heard Ms. Peters and Mr. Abrams tell me. They've denied every single thing you said. They've told the court that you've been live streaming your location and that they're able to show up because they're live streaming your location. They tell me that they're not stalking you at all. They tell me essentially that you are all YouTube people who have YouTube followers who neither of you all can control what your YouTube followers do. That's what I have in front of me so far. I need to understand why you believe they are harassing you such that you should get an order of protection.
She put my address online. She put my address where I'm at right now online. When I got here, there was dog shit on my door. It's on video.
There was what on your door?
Dog poop on my door. It's on video. I got a video of the whole thing. She came to my location in Boston and posted a picture of herself in the lobby of my building. She went to where I was on summer vacation in New Hampshire and showed up there and put her name up there. Take trolls always win. They have the pictures right there. She showed up at my location to intimidate me and cause fear in me. And then once she marks my location, the trolls will then literally going to physical violence. And she chased me down in Memorial Day. Her video says, I stalked him across the city. I was checking in with the private Discord server. Is he still there? Yes, he is. I'm driving across the county, white knuckles, and we're tracking him. I'm like, is he still there? And then she says, he's not getting away without a confrontation. And then it shows me push her away from me. Then I went and filed a police report because it had become physical. I didn't ask her to track me down to where I was in Boston. She literally is on video saying I raced across the 2 different cities to get to him. She parked my car in. There's a photograph. She parked my car in so I couldn't leave. She said on video, I parked him in so he couldn't go. I was going to have a confrontation with him. That is not.
I don't know about that. He's alleging that she parked him in. I mean, that could be like a false imprisonment type claim or something like that. But that's not what he brought. He's asking, bringing protective order. I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. He's destroyed his credibility here on all fronts. But I mean, I just don't know. I wasn't there. Yeah, you know, but the judge is the same way. He spent on him. Yeah, you know, that's not before me, and I don't believe anything you're saying at this point. She doesn't say it, but that you know, that's what she's thinking.
Free speech, Your Honor.
What day was this, Mr. DeCastro?
That was Memorial Day, where she came down, where Josh was privately texting her our location. He's supposed to be my friend, but then someone came where I was, and then Josh filmed our interaction so that they can embarrass me online. They did it together. But if I chased across the country and it said, I'm chasing across the country and I'm checking in with people to make sure she's still there, my God, I can only imagine. And just ridiculous. I was raised with feminists, with 7 women. I've identified as a feminist my entire life. The idea that I would be jealous of a woman's success is just a way to try to kowtow to you, I suppose, Your Honor, but that's crazy. My mom is travel champion, what she's talking about. It's just a way of painting in some crazy negative light. But if you just take a look, I'd like to call Zane, there's a 9-minute video that shows the actual events that happened in order. They're telling you really the story, but the evidence shows something completely different. And when you listen to Zane, they have, I mean, just knowing me causes you massive problem. Because the troll farm attacks anybody I know.
I saw the video of the main incident in question here, and it is not helpful to you, Chile. You don't want to show that. I don't know how to put it to you.
It's way past what you think. I'm suing them. You know how hard doing law is, federal tort law, filing a lawsuit against these people?
Do you believe that? He just said to a judge, do you know how hard federal law is? To a judge sitting on the bench in a robe, courtroom packed, who's displayed that she's real intelligent over the last half hour. Have you lost your freaking mind? Oh, God. And thank you, Carpentry Hero.
It's an amazing amount of work. I just want them to leave me alone and stop talking about me and let me go on with my life. It's not prior restraint, it's stalking me. Look at the video. They broke my doorknob on my front door. There's dogs, there's poo all over my hand. You can see it. You won't look at it, though.
All right, Mr. DeCastro, thank you for your testimony. I've heard enough to make a decision in these matters. The legal standard has not been satisfied, sir, for either of your requests. As such, your request for orders against both Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters is going to be denied. The hearing is now concluded.
Can I call my witness?
This hearing has concluded, sir. You're all set.
Yeah, no, Chill, you don't need to call your witnesses after the judge ruled against you. That's your first clue that the hearing's over. I'm just going to help you. I know you can't hear me, but I'm just going to help you now after the fact.
You're all set. You're all free to go. Just call the direction of the court officer, please. No clapping, no applause. No applause. Please follow the direction of the court officers. You all can leave one set at a time. Mr. DeCastro, the hearing is over. Whoever's controlling the Zoom, Mr. DeCastro, can leave the meeting at this time.
What a joke.
That what a joke would land me in jail, and any other attorney for that matter. I'm not saying I'm special, but again, you know, he gets treated with kid gloves because he's simple.
The Zoom users, thank you for your respect. You're obviously free to stay This is a public forum, but you can also leave if you're no longer interested in the day's proceeding.
Oh my gosh, it is a double.
Hi, this is Attorney Mike Graham. I'm coming to you from Chicago as usual, and today I've got a fun one. I just did a few videos on silly Chile, delete Lawz, and I was doing a live stream yesterday, and I was told by a bunch of commenters that I missed the best part of a video, and I went back, and sure enough, I did. Right here, we have silly Chile getting absolutely schooled by a passerby. It's delicious. Let's do it.
I should just say that.
Y'all got to listen to what I'm saying to you. Everything's done through legislation and through the law. That's why I'm
The law that you want to delete?
at court. Mr. Waldo, I'll be here. I'll be coming to your court sessions. I'll be reporting on what you do. You denied me my rights as press. Guess what, sir? My press job is now to cover your court. Okay, so now when you get out of the car after the ambulance has pulled away, what are you saying to the cops, and what's your mental state like?
I was still out crying.
You're
and
crying.
I'm like, what's going on with my son? Where are you taking him? Well, he's going to go to the hospital, make sure he's all right, and then we're taking him to jail. And he went to jail afterwards, and it's still 2.5 years later, and he's still fighting it in court.
Okay, so here he is engaged in his usual grift. He's just hearing this side of the story. There's a rest of the story, and that was brought out in court. Maybe they had the right result. Maybe they didn't have the result. I don't know. I wasn't there, but nor was he, and he doesn't know anything. But he's hearing this one-sided thing, assuming that the police are wrong because that's his shtick. I put it in for context so you can see when another woman comes by.
This is, how long ago is this?
About 2.5, almost 3 years ago.
And he's still fighting it in court?
He's still fighting it because they appointed him Morford as the lawyer.
Morford?
Yes.
How good of a job do you think Morford does?
He does a shitty job.
Mm-hmm. And then he was an appointed attorney?
Yes.
So he's making money from the courts. Yes. Stay right here, folks. Stay right here. He's making money from the courts. This is the public defender that they're hiring, the lawyer that they're hiring right here. I think maybe we should do a petition that we don't hire this guy anymore for public defender. What do you guys think about that? They had their back the blue. The same guy who they got the back the blue right here. And this is right in front of this. Morford's office put this up. I'm using you. Go on camera. Tell them. Tell everybody. I'll give you a fair chance to speak.
You are using.
It's interesting. I grabbed a clip from a later thing because I missed that as well in my live stream, and it's interesting that he's sitting here saying all this stuff about what Morford did. Now I don't know him, and I don't know what he did. Maybe he's good, maybe he's not, but he's just out slandering him with absolutely no idea of the facts of that case. My guess is Morford probably did fine, but I don't know if there's a legitimate complaint about what he did. There's a process to address that, and you know, just running around with your phone is not it.
People. I'm using them for
You're
what?
using these people.
For what do I get out of it?
For your own publicity.
For my publicity?
Yes.
Because I just want to be famous?
I don't know.
I didn't study constitutional law for 20 years. I don't understand the Federalist Papers.
I don't know what
I did.
I don't know if you did or didn't. You don't understand it. That's for sure.
Read the Constitution?
You might have.
So you mean that poor, uneducated people who most don't have their teeth, there'd be no reason why I would want to stand up for their rights. No reason at all.
I love that, insulting everybody. All the people he's helping. He just called them toothless slack-jawed yokels. Okay.
Listen, I'm all
that's an old video.
Well, then you're hearing the stories?
This is me live.
Did I make these stories?
I've lived in this community,
these
communities.
So has anybody else come here and exposed these stories?
So everything isn't fair. Everything isn't right.
Oh, it's
what
not
these
fair.
people need to do.
You mean come over here, ma'am? I can't be with the music. They want to shut me down. I'll come over here. I want to give you a fair chance. Everybody gets a chance to tell their point of view. You do too.
What everybody needs to do is get out and vote against these people.
Vote against them.
Yeah, vote against anyone that they feel like is giving unfair treatment.
No, I want to address though. You walked by these people when I wasn't here, and you said that I was using
She's just all full of common sense. Yes, engage in the political process if you want some sort of change. The problem they have with that is they don't necessarily have the backing of other people.
Yes. For my publicity.
Yes. You're raising money.
I'm raising
You're
money.
doing it the wrong way.
I'm doing it the wrong way.
Yes.
Transparency is the wrong way.
No, transparency is not the wrong way.
Has anybody ever taken their stories before? Has this account been made public before?
Have they gone to anyone to have that done before?
It doesn't work. Nothing works. The courts don't work. The lawyers don't work.
So you're telling me that this is happening in such
You're
a
a genius.
way in a small town in Ironton, Ohio. Let me just tell you this.
Now answer the question. Stay on topic. You said I'm using these
Listen to
people for
me.
publicity.
When I tell
That's what you said.
You don't control my conversation.
No, but I asked you.
Oh, I love her. She's awesome. That was the perfect response. She's coming by. She's got a drink in her hand. Just off the top of her head, she destroys him. It's fabulous.
They need to get a job, get to work. They need to be upstanding citizens. I do. I don't break the law. I don't have a bit of trouble.
No troubles.
No troubles. My son has broken the law. I didn't agree with the treatment that he always got.
What kind of
But
treatment did your son get?
He had to stay in the Lawrence County Jail. He had to go to prison. He did drugs.
So he should go to prison for the drugs he did?
For the crimes that he committed when he did the drugs, yes.
So he committed crimes when he was on drugs?
Yes. But what I'm saying to you is for me to come here with him enables that. So what I'm saying is I don't break the law.
Preach it, sister. That's what 98% of the people who watch this nonsense think.
I don't have any trouble.
So
why, if you break the law, or if you do something outside of, why is there someone that needs to defend you?
Because no one has come and stood up for these people. Nobody. And by the way,
What have people done to these people that is so bad?
well, did you see last night Derek Medley's story?
I don't follow this. People at my work have followed this.
You're not looking at what the people here are saying. The people who live here.
Here in Ironton?
Yes.
I'm hearing what they say.
Are you not watching their testimony?
No, I'm hearing what they're saying about all of this.
This man
I'm
was
hearing
pulled-
what the people that work and that live in these communities
That
are
work. He doesn't
terrorizing
work.
these-
He doesn't work.
I don't know if he works.
He said he was pulled
I
over
didn't
5
see
times in
this.
a week. 5 times in a week.
For what?
I don't know what we pulled over 5 times in a week for.
For what? That's again a great response. Maybe he deserved it. What was he doing?
They said that we had drugs in the vehicle.
Do you have drugs in your vehicle? They searched it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know, but I know this.
Did your vehicle get searched?
Has my vehicle
Yeah.
been
Did you get
searched?
pulled over and searched?
No, but when I had
No.
when my son was with me, or when he was driving my vehicle and he was hanging with people that were doing drugs, or he was affiliated with people that were doing drugs, he got searched. So what I'm saying to you
Things
is,
are going better now, though, because of all this. The drug epidemic is less. There's less drug problem now because of the criminal justice system.
This infantile argument that they make all the time. I get it. You think all drugs should be legal. That's fine as far as it goes, but they're not. So these people are committing crimes, and law enforcement has to enforce the law in the meantime. I also think it's a bad idea to legalize all drugs, but whatever. That's a fair debate you can have or a conversation. It's just the current state of the law, and the law for a long time has been that is not the case. So if you're in violation of that, there are consequences.
Is that what you're saying? Things are going great. The system is working amazing. That's what you're saying?
no, I'm not.
Okay, so you don't want to change it?
Change what?
That people go to a dungeon for drugs when they're addicted to drugs instead of helping them.
No, so I think they are trying to change some of that. They are. I've literally read posts and see posts. Ballard, Finley, both of those judges are implementing new drug programs and things through their courts.
The things I've heard about Ballard are nothing short of atrocious. And so.
Well, then you've been misinformed.
I've been misinformed. So Ballard is doing a bang up job on the courts.
Okay, I think
He's doing a great
Mr.
job.
Ballard
He's doing a great job.
is doing a good job at what he's doing. Yes, I do.
And so now you said here that
So my son is now at Star.
So someone who knows a Ballard versus someone who doesn't.
What do I get?
He's benefited greatly from Star.
Okay.
So he left prison and he went to Star, something that I don't normally talk about. But the system is helping those people that want help.
Okay, cool. So now we got your story. I gave you an opportunity, but now tell me what I get out of this. What you said, I'm using these people. What am I getting out of it?
Well, so
Views, clicks, likes, attention. And you don't have any other discernible skills, so that's a good deal for you. I know clearly what you're getting out of it.
People watch this, and I'm just telling you from what I've heard. I don't watch these feeds because
Why don't you? This is your town, lady. This is your town.
Well, this isn't my town. This is where my business is. But
so you just suck off these people then? You make money off these people, and then you leave town?
No,
Oh, the irony is rich. You just use these people and leave town. From a carpetbagger who showed up 48 hours ago. Oh.
These aren't your people. But these are your people then. This is your neighborhood. I came here to help you.
that are here.
So you said this isn't your town. Where's your town?
It's close by.
Okay, so your town's close by. So then all the people, the 3 dozen people so far on camera, what about them?
What about them?
Don't you give a damn what about Teresa Ward, who was held
First
down?
of all, I work two jobs.
I'm not saying,
I don't have time to sit and watch a feed of somebody that's out
Doing what?
creating chaos. in our
Creating
town.
chaos.
Yes. So
I'm the creator of chaos.
That's right. You are the creator of chaos.
Uh-huh.
You come in from California and you're the creator of chaos. That's exactly what you are. And these people are being fooled by you. You're nothing but an idiot. An idiot.
His brother didn't jump by Henshaw when he was on heroin. That doesn't count.
I'm not saying that there aren't bad instances. There's not bad people. There's not bad police. There's not bad in everything. But you are not the answer to the problem.
I'm the problem, right?
Boom. Oh, she's just dropping truth bomb after truth bomb. I love it. And she's like literally just going about her day, still trying to be productive.
You are part of the
And I'm an idiot. You
You're
haven't seen my lectures on constitutional law or the history.
I don't give a shit about your lectures on constitutional law or history.
You don't care about
When
it.
You sit there and say that Andy Ballard and the things that he's done and Kristen Finley and the things that they've done are not good things. You are sadly mistaken. And you know what? You haven't been in town to know all that stuff.
Oh, so I couldn't get testimony from people. I said the reports I'm getting.
Testimony from who?
These folks right here. Are they lying?
Yeah.
Was their son stomped on when he was on heroin? Was their son
Yes, they probably are.
stomped on?
Not a credible person.
Okay. There it is. There it is, folks.
Hi, this is Frankie with the Sovereign Citizen Patrol, and I'd like to remind you to please hit like and subscribe, or I'll be personally offended.
Okay, I put that in just to break it up. I yesterday intended to do. He had a stream called Q&A. I just took this little bit from it, and I think it's on point with this whole discussion, and then I'll wrap it up. It's very short.
So I don't want to think about that. I want to think about being there to celebrate the win of when the legislation is finally signed that.
By the way, he precedes all this with "my life's in danger." He's showing a weapon, probably videotaping himself committing a crime. I wouldn't make that accusation specifically because I don't know, but he's doing things that I'm guessing are not in compliance with the law. But that's for the authorities to deal with.
I'm not an attorney. I didn't go to law school. I have no education. I'm not an attorney. I am not a lawyer. I've never taken the bar. I don't even know court procedure. I have no idea how court procedure works. I'm terrible at it.
Clearly.
Someone sent me whoever sent me that today. Oh, I think it was April, sent me the class I can take. I'm going to take that class. So yeah, I don't have any education. None. I'm just a regular old dunce cap. But it just happens that I read a lot. I sure do know a lot of information for being a dunce cap, but I don't want to.
So, I mean, the perfect illustration of Dunning-Kruger right there. First of all, I doubt it. He may have read some stuff and he doesn't get the context and misinterprets it all and has it wrong.
Misconstrue that I have no formal education other than a few years of college. So I'm just a regular old, just like you. That's all. Okay.
You're not like me. I'm actually an attorney.
All right. I'm going to get out of here this time. I'm actually going to hang up this thing. All right.
Well, there you have it. It was too good to pass up. Like I said, I streamed yesterday and everyone told me I missed that. I'm muted. All right. We're still waiting. 11 minutes to go. What is this craziness?
His investigation and deciding if he wants to issue a ticket to this driver.
And you also don't have any business approaching the driver. The driver didn't ask you for help. The driver didn't say, help, help, you know. You didn't see an altercation happening between the officer and this driver. The officer didn't protest that you were filming. There's no problem with filming. You can film, it's fine, all right? But you did interfere with his investigation. You did interfere with his ability to do his job. You did put him in a position where he is concerned for his safety and the safety of the driver. So I believe the state's met their burden beyond reasonable doubt. I'm going to find you guilty of obstructing a public officer and resisting a public officer. So I'd like to hear from the state and then your attorney prior to sentencing.
Your Honor, in terms of sentencing, I would ask the defendant enter and complete an impulse control class. I would ask that the court levy a $500 fine or the equivalent in community service. I would ask that the defendant be ordered to stay out of trouble for the pendency of the case. And I would ask for a 90-day suspended sentence. And that's on as to each count for 1 week on it. That's our request. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm asking the court to sentence the defendant to credit for time served for these offenses. Even if the court concludes, and the court did conclude that he didn't have the right to do what he did, I think the court can see that he sincerely believes that he has the right to do so. That's based on his past experiences and the training he received in reference to the First Amendment. I don't think there's any intent from the defendant to engage in any wrongdoing in this case, Your Honor. And that being the case, especially because of the public policy interests at issue.
So when you say he doesn't wish to engage in any wrongdoing, it seems to me from observing him in the video that he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get into an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called me, and he's nodding his head up and down. So apparently he hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right, please stand up, sir. Are you finished with your request for credit for time?
Well, here we are. I'm still waiting. I'm going to look right now. I don't see any link. I don't see any link. Has anyone seen the link? Where's that confounded link? There's an obscure Zeppelin reference for y'all. Oh. Come on. Yeah, that was a teaser clip. I just got that thanks to Iris in Texas. I mean, you can't. We had Ben Bateman, the most famous defense attorney in the state of Nevada, and right here we've got Delete Lawz. What else do you need? This is a spot to be. This is where the cool kids are. This is so where the cool kids are. You know what? I'm just going to give you a gratuitous one of these.
Love, exciting and new.
Because why not? Why not? I got this.
There shall not be any cutting of trees. Don't cut any trees. I'll pass the order. No cutting of trees, no felling of trees in Patna number 12.
Ma'am, are you a whore? I object to the relevance of that, Your Honor.
All right. What?
I'll tie it up real quick, Judge.
All right, go ahead.
You're not a whore?
I don't know. What's going on here? I've been getting countdowns to the video for over an hour now. Hi, Bateman Mike. How you doing, buddy? So I'm not saying I don't believe you. And I'm not saying people aren't passing along information that they got from somewhere. Six minutes. Everyone's telling me 6 minutes. I'm absolutely getting railroaded here. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
I'm so lost without you. I know you were right.
Ma'am, you didn't say the cat jumped on his wiener, did you?
Thank you. Well, that seems to be the consensus here. I don't know if it's right. Where are the updates coming from? X? I don't know. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. It's like Christmas. Oh, goody! We get to see Chile get put in the clank. I'm not going to lie to you. It's worth waiting around for. How long is this thing? How long was the trial? It shouldn't be that long if it's a bench. You know what? I didn't think about that. That's perfect. I've got the perfect thing for this situation. That's right. Are you feeling it? I'm feeling it.
Ma'am, are you a whore? You're not a whore? Not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again.
You're not a whore? Not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again.
It gets worse.
Well, I'll talk with Mike. Your place for hard-hitting, insightful law commentary.
Involved that were given to me that ended up being glue. Like I smoked some glue and stuff. I thought I was smoking crack.
You didn't say the cat jumped on his wiener, did you? Sit down and shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up.
Can you just let this go for once? For once? Once?
Okay, back to it.
Not a whore?
Sharks, Mr. Sharks, Mr. Sharks.
I'm enjoying the thought of how confused the new viewer is right now. Ah.
Ma'am, are you a whore?
Okay. We can't do this all over again here. We can't do that. We've got some standards here. Okay. No, we don't. Yeah, it's 4 minutes ish. It's somewhere between 4 minutes and 4 hours. Oh, good Lord. Let me see if I have anything good.
Yeah, without getting into further detail, there were drugs involved that people were giving to me that ended up being glue. Like I smoked some glue and stuff. I thought I was smoking crack, and
Well, thank you. You know, the waiting is the hardest part, as I understand. It's going to happen, people. It's going to happen. Trust me on this. I'm not seeing it. Hey, Dancing Blandino, that's not bad. I haven't dusted off the Dancing Blandino in a while. Let me see if I can find that.
Today, Your Honor, my health is in jeopardy right now.
What's up?
I have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and what's been going on?
Very stressful.
I'm bleeding inside, ma'am.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I got some good clips, and I know I abuse them. That's okay. That's what we're here for. Seriously, I have no faith left in this thing. I don't even remember anymore. All right, we'll go back to it for a while.
there were drugs involved that were given to me that ended up being glue. Like I smoked some glue and stuff. I thought I was smoking crack.
Jump on his meter. 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 Jump on his meter.
Can you just let this go for once? For once? Okay, that
Mr. Sharks. Not a whore. Mr. Sharks. Mr. Sharks. Mr. Sharks.
Everybody fucking dance.
You're not a whore. You're not a whore.
I never want to hear it again.
You're not a whore. You're not a whore.
I never want to hear it again.
Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong.
Trial.
This is crazy. Ma'am, are you a whore? You're not a whore? Not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again.
You're not a whore? Not a whore? You're not a whore?
The countdown, as far as I can tell, says it's going to start at 7:30. 7:30 what time zone?
Drugs involved that were given to me that ended up being glue. Like I smoked some glue and stuff. I thought I was smoking crack.
Let's go. You didn't say the cat jumped on his meter, did you? Sit down and shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Cat jumped on his meter. Jump 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 on his meter.
Okay. I can't.
And do you have a job when you're not in custody?
Yes, I do have a job.
Where do you work?
Yeah.
Where do you work?
Oh, I work, I sell burritos sometimes.
Oh. All right, Iris. We'll find it.
I'm going to use Miss Fowler's words. She now is in a throuple. And not only does she choose to be in a throuple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
I don't know why I played that, but it was sitting around in my clips. And I like it. I think it's good. Oh, we're hurting. I think this is just an elaborate troll from Alex at this point. Let me see here.
Holy wow. That's retro. I'd have to feel like I should be elected emperor of the world before I could be that arrogant, not show up for a sentencing. Like really, like top two. Only me and one other person get to run for emperor of the world.
Okay, someone says the video's up, but where? The video's up, but says we're processing. Where? On ONJ? Well, yeah, why not? Are you guys just trolling me now? Where? Where is it up? Is this what you guys are talking about? Well, let me tell you. Gather around, everybody. Gather around the fire here. I got some good old law cracky tales for you. No, I got nothing. Where are we? The link is in my Discord. All right. Where am I at Discord? Okay.
Your Honor, I call Jose De Castro.
I think this is it. I think we're cooking now, people.
5.
I haven't heard all your places yet. Okay.
Good morning, Agnes Botello for the state.
Are you Mr. De Castro? Can you turn off your phone, please? The one that's in your hand?
Just communicating with my lawyer. He's on his way here now. I'm just waiting for him to get there.
All right, I'm gonna wait for your attorney, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, Jose De Castro, 23 CR 013015.
Good morning, Your Honor, Agnes Botello, and David Cave for the record. Good morning, the state.
Good morning, Michael, me on behalf of the defendant, who's present with me this morning.
So I have signed 2 media requests that permit recording or photographing these proceedings, but I have not granted any other requests to record or live stream these proceedings. So I need Mr. De Castro and everybody else who wants to stay in the courtroom to surrender their phones, or you can leave.
Are your phone covered and I'll take one from you?
I need Mr. De Castro to empty all of his pockets.
What's that?
Empty your pockets.
and give up your phones to the judge. I have to give you my phones?
Yeah.
My phones have to be completely off.
Yeah. I don't really want to be part of your YouTube channel. So
You already are.
great.
You already are.
Awesome.
I'm not gonna get into this guy though. I'll get into someone else. I'm
No,
not touching myself.
no, they're gonna go to my marshal.
He's a pig.
Excuse me?
I said he's a pig.
Okay. So I'm not gonna permit you to speak to anybody in my courtroom in that manner. And if you don't want to apologize, I'm gonna hold you in contempt.
I apologize to the court, Your Honor.
No, you can apologize to, they've done nothing to you.
Actually, Your Honor, when you were here, you came over and gave me a directive for no reason, and started telling me what to do.
Okay, well.
I have all the respect in the world for the court. I follow the rule of law all the time.
No, it is their job to maintain the safety and security of the courtroom.
I agree with you, Your Honor.
So if you want to speak like that in my courtroom, I'm gonna hold you in contempt. And if I hold you in contempt, you're going to jail. That is not my wish. Okay?
I wish you would.
All right. So
It's my
I need
wish.
you to empty your pockets too. Suit pocket, pants pocket.
This is illegal. This is a violation of my Fourth Amendment.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. I don't have any recording devices on me. What are you talking about?
How about suit jacket?
I don't have anything on me. This is preposterous.
No, it's
This really is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Me, your phone too. Off.
They're recording everything.
They have a media request.
Right, and I'm not recording anything. Your guy here took my phone, so he's on his phone's not on
Right.
it. You take the lawyer's phone too?
No, I'm not gonna take the lawyer's phone. He's an officer of the court. All right, do we have everybody's phones? Are they off? All right, good. All right. All right, this is the time set for the trial of State of Nevada versus Jose De Castro, 23 CR 013015. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
How many witnesses do you have?
We anticipate one.
All right, is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I have your request to convert counsel to standby counsel. I'm going to deny that request. Either you represent him or he should have previously requested a forensic canvas to represent himself. That I just consider that a delay tactic, so that request is denied. Are you ready to proceed? Otherwise, I'm assuming you are.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, will the state please call the first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Brandon Moor, and he's in the anteroom. Follow me on the website.
Morning.
You're gonna remain standing. Raise your right hand, please. One leg. Do
you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated, state your name for the record, and spell it first and last name, please.
It's Brandon Bork. Brandon is Brandden. Bork, Bourque.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Sir, how are you employed?
I'm a police officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
How long have you been employed with Metro?
Just over 8 years.
What is your, what's your occupation there? Like, where are you assigned?
I currently am a field training officer at Southern Area Command.
Okay. And so are you a patrol officer?
Yes, ma'am.
That also trains newer officers?
Yes.
Were you employed with Metro? I'm assuming you are, because you've been employed for 8 years, back on March 15th of 2023.
Yes, I was.
Were you a patrol officer at that time?
Yes, I was.
As a patrol officer, do you wear a uniform?
Yes, I do.
Can you describe the uniform?
It would be the same uniform I'm wearing today.
Okay, so for the record, you're wearing a tan uniform with the logos, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, located throughout your shirt.
Yes.
As a patrol officer, do you have access to or utilize a marked patrol vehicle?
Yes.
And can you describe what this marked patrol vehicle looks like?
It's black and white in color and it has the LVMPD's logo on all sides.
Okay. And is it also equipped with like lights and sirens?
Yes.
And so you were employed as a patrol officer back on March 15th of 2023?
Yes.
At some point in time, did you conduct a traffic stop while you were working in that capacity?
Yes, I did.
On that date?
Yes.
Okay. And was that for a vehicle bearing license plate 748Z, like zebra, T like Tom, B like boy?
Yes.
And why did you stop that vehicle?
I had conducted a DMV records check on that license plate and it came back expired and suspended.
And where is it that you stopped that vehicle?
It was 4155 South Grand Canyon, which was near Target.
Okay. Is that over on Flamingo and Grand Canyon?
Yes.
Okay, and that's here in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada, sir?
Yes.
And you indicated it was for a license plate that was expired and suspended?
Yes.
So when you initiated the traffic stop, what did you do or how did you do that?
I approached the driver, let her know the reason for the stop, to obtain her identifying information, registration, insurance.
Okay, and I forgot to ask you earlier, but pursuant to your uniform and as a patrol officer, are you equipped with a body worn camera?
Yes, I am.
And do you also have a radio?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And are those items, both the body worn camera and the radio, on your uniform today?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and is that how the body worn camera and or the radio were on your uniform back on March 15th of 2023?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was your body worn camera functioning at that time?
Yes, it was functioning.
And so you made contact with the driver of that Hyundai.
Yes, I did.
How would you characterize the nature of your encounter or the nature of your encounter with that driver?
She was cooperative with me. I explained the reason for the stop. She seemed confused, not sure exactly how it had become suspended, but she was friendly and cooperative.
Okay, and she identified herself.
She did. She got a picture of her license on her phone.
Okay. And at some point, sir, did you go back to your patrol vehicle to further your investigation?
I did.
And as you were, let me ask you this. When you effectuated the traffic stop on this vehicle, where did you park or stop your vehicle in relation to the Hyundai that you were stopping?
I parked approximately 10, 15 feet behind the stop vehicle. We ended up in a parking lot.
Okay. And was the driver the sole occupant of the vehicle?
Yes.
And so when you returned to your patrol vehicle to conduct your further investigation, was the driver within eyesight?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And is it your habit and custom and also your training to keep the individual that you are, dealing with within eyesight?
Yes.
And so at some point while you were still in your vehicle, in your patrol vehicle, did something occur that's causing you to have to testify before Judge Zimmerman today?
Yes, I had an unrelated person come over to start recording the traffic stop.
Okay. And we talked about your body worn camera previously, but did you activate your body worn camera prior to the traffic stop?
Yes, I did.
Or, just before you initiated the traffic stop?
I initiated the stop and then I immediately activated my camera.
Okay. And how is it that body worn camera is activated on your uniform, sir?
I have a battery pack that's on my belt in the front, and I press the activation button, which is in the front.
Okay. And so is it just a tap of that activation button?
It's a double tap on the front, yes.
Okay. And how is it that you would stop recording?
I would hold down that same power button.
Okay.
Or it can be turned off. There's a toggle switch on the top that slides on and off.
Okay. Okay. And so your body worn camera was running as of, the traffic stop being initiated?
Yes.
Okay. And so you described an unrelated individual coming over to, your stop.
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe this individual?
He was a white male adult. He was wearing bright colored hoodie and blue jeans.
That individual, do you see him here in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point to him and describe something he's wearing?
He's wearing a suit and a blue tie.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect identification of the defendant.
So ordered.
And so what do you do upon seeing this individual approach the driver of the vehicle you had stopped?
Initially, when I saw him, he was just recording. I ignored him, continued my records check. Then when he came over to the driver and started speaking with them, I got out of the car, approached the driver and told DeCastro to back up.
Okay. When you first noticed, so you identified the unknown or unrelated male subsequently, correct?
Yes.
And what was his name?
Jose DeCastro?
Okay. And that's the individual you identified here in court?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you first laid eyes on the defendant, approximately how far away was he from the driver of the vehicle in the Hyundai?
Approximately somewhere within 5 to 10 feet.
Okay. And you indicated that he was recording?
Yes.
Okay. What did you see that led you to believe he was recording?
He had his cell phone camera pointed directly at me.
Okay. And so is that when, upon seeing him being that close to the driver, is that when you told him, you walked up to the driver of the stopped vehicle and asked Mr. DeCastro to back up?
Yes, once he started talking with the driver.
Okay. And why is it that you did that, officer?
Well, I can't have unrelated people next to my traffic stops. I don't know if he's a dangerous person, armed. He could be a boyfriend of the stopped person. It's for my safety and the safety of the person I've stopped.
Okay. Because you're also in charge of the safety of the individual that this unrelated individual is making contact with. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And so you saw it as an officer safety issue as well as a safety issue for the driver?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you approached, well, you said he was recording, the defendant was recording. At any time, did you tell him to stop recording?
No, in fact, I told him he can continue recording.
Okay. He can continue to record given what?
As long as he backed up and gave me an appropriate distance to work.
Okay. And so when you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not.
Okay. And so what did you do next?
I gave him 3 additional warnings to back up.
Okay. And did he obey those orders?
No, he did not.
And what, if anything, did you do with?
I'm live.
With the driver of the stopped vehicle, the Hyundai?
At that point, I chose to release the driver of the Hyundai and then focus my attention on Jose DeCastro.
Okay. And for the record, officer, at that point in time, were you the only uniformed officer, or the only officer present at the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And so at this point, you were dealing with the stop driver as well as an unrelated individual and having to make contact or maintain visual of both.
Yes.
And at that point, the defendant was not being cooperative.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So you release the driver of the Hyundai. What do you tell that person to let her go?
I just said that she was free to go, simply.
And subsequently, did you turn your attention on the defendant?
Yes.
And can you tell Judge Zimmerman the nature of your interaction with the defendant after that?
I ordered DeCastro to the front of my patrol vehicle while pointing at it and told him that he was detained
And what was the purpose of detaining him?
for obstructing my initial traffic stop with Hyundai.
And did he obey your lawful order?
No, he did not.
And what happened next?
He continued filming me. I continued pointing toward my patrol vehicle, continued telling him he was detained. All the while, he just continued shifting his body around, recording me on the phone, and refusing to go to the car.
Okay. So what did you do in response?
I used my hand to escort him to the patrol vehicle. So I placed my hand on his shoulder, and at that point, he swatted my hand away.
And what happened next?
That's when I grabbed him by the shirt, and I spun him around, and then we ended up at the front of my patrol vehicle. We were both still standing.
At some point, did you request additional units to respond to the scene?
I did, that was before I grabbed him,
Okay.
when I initially detained him.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, once you had him at your patrol vehicle, or the front, the hood of your patrol vehicle, what happened next?
Officer Dingley, another officer in the area, had arrived, and he came over to help me handcuff.
And were you successful, or did the defendant cooperate in being handcuffed?
He did not cooperate. I told him 7 times to face my patrol vehicle. He did not listen. I told him 6 times to turn around. He did not listen. It wasn't until I told him that he was going to go to jail, that was the consequence of not listening, that he allowed us to handcuff.
Okay. And after he was handcuffed, well, when he was handcuffed, was it just you and Officer Dingle present?
Yes.
Once he was handcuffed, what, if anything, happened next?
He continued to argue with my partners, Officer Dingley and some other officers that were starting to show up. And then I focused my roles in completing the report and calling the sergeant because he requested a supervisor.
Okay. And at some point, was he arrested for account of obstructing a public officer?
Yes.
And also for resisting a public officer or resisting arrest?
Yes.
And was he, at any point in time during your interaction with him or your continued visual of his interaction with other officers, did he cooperate with any of the officers present at the scene?
No, he kept shifting around, and normally we have people stand still in front of our car, and I could hear him arguing with the other officers.
You indicated you had your body worn camera turned on at this time.
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to look at your body worn camera prior to court today?
Yes, I did.
I were to show you a snippet of it, and Your Honor, we're gonna be screen sharing through Zoom. Takes a minute. Okay. Officer, are you able to see, there's not a screen over there, so I might have to bring mine over to you.
I'm absolutely loving this, knowing what the result is.
Okay. Officer, I'm showing you my computer screen. Is it fair to say that what's being shared on the screen as well as what's showing up on my computer screen are 2 files, one labeled 416b.mp4, the other one labeled 468, number sign 1. .mp4.
Yes.
Okay. I am just gonna, and for the record, Your Honor, all body worn camera footage have been disclosed to the defense well in advance of today's trial. I'm gonna just show you a brief snippet of the one labeled 468 underscore number sign 1.mp4. Do you recognize what's depicted here?
Yes, this is the initial Hyundai that I had stopped on traffic stop.
Okay, and so do you recognize this particular file as the body worn camera of your interaction first with the Hyundai and then the defendant on March 15th of 2023?
Yes.
Okay, and does this show the time that you activated your camera?
Yes.
Okay, similar to what you testified to earlier?
Yes.
And you've had an opportunity to see this entire 12 and a half minute long video, is that right?
Yes.
Does it fairly and accurately depict the traffic stop and also your interaction with the defendant on the date and time that we've been discussing?
Yes.
At the location that we've been discussing?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I move to admit and subsequently publish the file labeled 468 underscore number sign 1.mp4.
Spence,
No objection.
to be admitted and published.
Thank you.
Right.
And let me just join up. Very loud. Yeah, it's the microphone. Your Honor, permission to just put it up here. Yep. Away from the microphone.
Yeah. This will get better. It's just gotta be why they're playing this video. Is all this feedback from the trial, or was it like this on the original body cam? I don't know what you're trying about, Tater Tad. Thank you.
I'm going to pause it at timestamp 9 minutes and 16 seconds. At this point, officer, do you see the unrelated male that you've been talking about enter camera view?
Yes, I do.
And could you just point to where he is in the video on my screen?
Yes, he's right here.
And let the record reflect he identified a male wearing like a light colored blue jacket towards the middle of the screen. And is this the individual that you have been talking about, the defendant here today?
Yes.
Continue.
Back
Absolutely.
Officer at 11:38, or just a little bit before, there was another officer that comes onto the screen. Who's that?
This is Officer Dingley.
And that concludes the 12-minute and 31-second video. The video marked 468_number sign 1.mp4. Officer, at some point after this interaction that we just saw, did you come to realize that your body worn camera had accidentally or inadvertently turned off?
Yes.
Okay. And at what point in time did it turn off?
It would have turned off at the completion of the video that we just saw. Prior
Prior to what?
to the handcuffing.
Okay. Did you we noticed Officer Dingle show up to the scene though?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know whether he had his body worn camera turned on?
Yes, it was activated.
Okay. And so what would have been missed by the inadvertent turning off of your body worn camera would have been captured on Officer Dingle's body worn camera?
Yes.
Okay. And did I allow you to look at that video footage from Officer Dingle this morning prior to testifying here today?
Yes, you did.
And did you have an opportunity to look at it to determine whether it was in fact the video related to this event?
Yes, I looked at it and it was the video related.
Okay. And so, turn your attention now to the video labeled 416B- or .mp4, and I'm just gonna.
It says 4168.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that B or B? I think it's a B. 416B. .mp4.
Okay.
Or 8. And I just played the first 13 seconds, but actually I'm gonna fast forward. Now, for the record, the video is upside down. I recorded upside down. Yes?
Yes, it did.
All right. Actually,
Why would it record upside down?
Ma'am, there's a setting in the application where you can rotate it. This officer may not have checked that beforehand.
Stopping or starting at 4:54, timestamp on the video that we've been talking about. Do you recognize what's depicted, at least in this still portion?
Yes, this is me and DeCastro in front of my patrol vehicle.
Okay, and so to your knowledge, after having watched this, does this fairly and accurately depict your interaction with the defendant on March 15th of 2023 as caught on camera by Officer Dingley's body worn camera?
Yes.
Move to admit 416 B or 8 and P4.
No objection.
You know if it's an 8 or a B for sure?
It looks like a B too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I lose. All right.
Okay.
416B.MP4 will be admitted and published.
Thank you. And I'm just gonna start from 4:54. And may I approach you on it?
Can we move the water bottle?
I'm sure.
Of course.
You can come on.
You can
Thank
choose.
you.
Was it Chile said no objection?
Anyway, rotate it so it's right side up.
This way.
There you go.
Ah, beautiful. Torture cuffs in place. I love it. It's a bench trial. Ah. It really is. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit? Can you tell me just a little bit?
Thanks for staying with me. I wasn't going to miss this victory lap.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it at 11:35.
I like the prosecutor. She laid a really good foundation
Did the body worn camera?
and was not above holding that upside down.
Or that I played, fairly and accurately depict your interaction with the defendant on March 15th of 2023.
Yes, it did.
Concerning, I just want to talk a little bit about what was depicted in the video. In the video from your body worn camera, it shows, you know, the state of your stop with the Hyundai driver. You recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point prior to you making contact with the defendant, you noticed him kind of reporting further away from the vehicle, correct?
Yes, yes.
And at that point in time, you didn't have a problem with that. You didn't really approach the defendant yet, correct?
Correct.
It was when he started making contact with the driver, your stopped driver, that you approached him and asked him to back up.
Yes.
And at some point in time in the video, it's recorded, you told him that he is allowed to record, but he just needed to back up.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the reason for you trying to maintain, one, the lack of no contact with the stopped person, and two, trying to gain distance between the defendant, yourself, and the stopped driver?
My first intention is I wasn't trying to delay my traffic stop any longer than it had to be. I was trying to make it as short as possible for the driver. And then the second was for officer safety. What we're taught in the academy is that for a normal human's reaction time with open ground, anything within 21 feet, that suspect would be able to charge an officer without them being able to react in time.
All right. And at that point in time, you were the only officer present, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when he began, or when the defendant failed to obey your command to back up, that's when you decided to engage him.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe, but if
I have no more questions for this
if the
witness.
defendant's too stupid to make an objection, it doesn't matter.
Good morning, officer. How are you doing?
Morning, sir. I'm well. How are you?
Very well. How many feet did you order the defendant to back up specifically?
I never had an opportunity to give him an exact distance.
Seriously.
How far back did you intend to have him back up, even if you didn't express that?
In the background of the video, you can see that there was a parked semi-truck and a light pole. I would have directed him somewhere in that way, which would have been outside the 21 feet.
Your testimony is you never told him an exact distance to back up, correct?
Yes, he never allowed me to.
What do you mean you never allowed you to?
I asked him to back up, and he continued arguing with me, so I can never specify exact distance for him.
But you had time to give him 5 commands to back up, is that correct?
Yes,
Your testimony is he never backed up when you were giving him commands, is that correct?
if he backed up, it may have been inches, but he didn't substantially back up.
And you just reviewed the body worn camera from your chest, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. You didn't notice him backing up every time you directed him to back up?
he did not back up.
So you backed up 0 feet, in your opinion? Based on that video?
Not 0 feet.
What was that?
He didn't back up 0 feet, he was moving his feet. As to exactly how far he moved back, I don't know, but it wasn't substantial.
What would have been substantial in your opinion, or what do you mean by that?
I would have guided him if he wasn't arguing with me back toward the light pole and the parked semi-truck.
And
Would have been outside of the 21 feet. That was my goal.
So in your opinion, you have the ability, or you would in any traffic stop, ask somebody to move back 21 feet, is that correct?
Yes, for our training,
And what was that training?
that while we're conducting lawful activity, we're allowed a reasonable distance to conduct our activity.
But where do you get that 21 feet number from specifically?
That's taught to us in the academy. It's based on reaction time, normal human reaction time to a threat.
It's a good answer.
So your position is anytime you're engaged in any law enforcement activity, you would create a 21 feet perimeter?
Not necessarily, it depends on other environmental factors such as obstacles and barriers.
So your
Great answer.
testimony is that every time you conduct a traffic stop, as long as there's no barriers, you would order a pedestrian to back up 21 feet, is that correct?
I would, yes.
What training do you have in regards to the First Amendment?
It's standard academy training.
Can you explain what that?
More than Chile by a wide margin.
Usually includes a classroom setting, PowerPoint taught by a police officer, academy officer.
Do you remember
Yeah.
receiving that?
Brandon for the win here.
Yes,
How long ago was that?
when I was first employed about 8 years ago.
Do you have any follow-up training?
Specifically on First Amendment, we've had some follow-up training regarding First Amendment auditors.
Okay, can you explain what that follow-up training was?
The follow-up training was just a refresher on the First Amendment and how the department wants to handle or react to First Amendment auditors.
In that training, did they explain any case law governing how many feet somebody has to move back or anything like that?
Objection, Your Honor, at this point, of relevance, I think it's beyond the scope of, the charges that you are to determine guilt, on at this time.
Can you tell me what's the relevance?
Yes, Your Honor. He detained the defendant after issuing commands back up a particular distance. He's testified he's received training. I should be entitled to cross-examine him about what that training is and how he's coming up with the specific numbers he's using to
I think her objection was with respect to the case law that you're inquiring about.
Your Honor, our position is if he is issuing commands that are contrary to that case law and he's been trained on that case law, then there can't be an obstruction of justice.
So I'm going to sustain the objection and ask you to move along.
Have you had any prior issues enforcing the First Amendment?
No.
Prior to this event taking place, had you heard of Jose de Castro?
No.
Do you recall when you first heard about First Amendment auditors specifically?
It would have been in the academy.
So that was when you were first trained? You had heard about the auditors back then?
Yes, when we were learning about the First Amendment, they would typically bring up issues that might be a frequently seen thing. And First Amendment auditors are typically the ones that we encounter when there's First Amendment claims against us.
Do you have any belief that First Amendment auditors are likely to be violent?
Objection, relevance.
What's the relevance?
All right.
I'm only concerned with Mr. de Castro. Okay.
Your Honor, one of the legal issues at question here is whether or not these commands are reasonable. I think that it has to be based upon his past experiences in training.
Sustained.
During this traffic stop in particular, what specific factors led you to believe there might be a danger to officer safety?
Based on his proximity to my driver, based on his demeanor being argumentative, based on his physical demeanor, his veins were popping out of his neck as he was yelling at me.
You can see his veins popping out of his neck from your back where your vehicle is.
When I was at the driver's side window, I could see that, but not in my car.
So when you see him walking up from your car, what is your specific concern regarding officer safety at that point in time?
Well, it's my safety and the safety of the driver. I don't know who this person is. I've never met him before. He could be peaceful, he could be violent, I just don't know. There's so many unknown factors. And I also have a responsibility to protect that driver. If I were in that driver's position, I wouldn't want to be approached by some random person recording me, interviewing me.
Did you ever ask the driver their opinion about whether they wanted him there or not?
No, my first step was
relevance.
Sustained.
Was your primary concern him speaking to the driver or him not backing up allegedly?
My primary concern was safety. I don't know if he was armed or what his intention was.
Do you presume someone is armed and dangerous just because they're in public?
I can't rule out that he's unarmed.
But you had no reason to believe he was armed on this occasion?
No, nobody had told me he was armed, and I didn't see any weapons visible, but he was wearing clothing that could have easily concealed weapons.
So when you first came upon the scene, you were in your vehicle typing on your computer, is that correct?
Yes.
And what were you doing in relation to that traffic stop at that point in time?
Conducting a background check to see if her license was valid, to see if she had any criminal history to help me make my decision whether to warn her or issue citation.
You stated your belief that the driver was entitled to privacy.
I did say that.
And what do you mean by that?
Instead of continuing to give him commands to back up, I said something different to try and help him understand. She's really not entitled to privacy, but she's entitled to safety.
So your explanation is that you said that because you were just trying to convince him to back up, not because you believed?
Yes, if I continue to give the command to back up and he's not listening, I can't expect something different to happen if I just keep saying back up.
In your police report, do you recall referencing the fact that he had due notice in your opinion of what you were commanding him to do?
Yes, when I gave him 4 commands to back up, those do notice.
But you'll agree with me that he did not have notice as to the distance you wanted him to back up, is that correct?
That's correct.
Approximately how long were you issuing these commands to him before you decided to detain him?
Approximately 15, 20 seconds.
And your testimony is you didn't have any time during the entire back and forth to tell him a specific distance to back up to?
Not time, but no opportunity.
How so?
Well, every time I tried to speak with him, he would argue he wasn't listening at all. So if he's not understanding back up, how would he explain something that was more complex?
Well, what was preventing you from saying back up to a particular location?
First, I would want him to back up, and then if he didn't back up far enough, I would give him an exact location.
But you never did, correct?
No, I never did.
Did the defendant's verbal comments towards you influence what you decided to do that day?
No.
On the video, did you see that the point in time you decided to detain him was specifically after he made an insulting comment towards you?
That wasn't why I chose to detain him. I realized that he wasn't going to back up at that time.
His comments didn't make you angry at him?
No.
In your review of the video just now, he had both hands in front of him the entire time, is that correct?
No, at one point he reaches toward his back pocket to pull out a second phone.
Did you quickly see that it was a second phone he was going for?
Yes.
Okay. So once you see him produce a second phone in his hands, he's obviously not reaching for a weapon, is that correct?
At that time, no, he wasn't.
What time of day did this occur at?
If I remember correctly, I think it was around 4:30 in the afternoon.
And this was in a broad public place?
Yes.
Does the fact that this occurred in broad daylight in public influence your decision making as far as issuing commands to the defendant?
It could. In this particular case, it didn't.
And why is that?
There was nobody around us other than me and the driver and DeCastro.
You testified he swatted your hand away. Is that your testimony today?
Yes, that's the best way I can describe it.
And you saw his arm do this, or you just felt it?
I saw and felt it.
Do you recall in your police report stating that you did not believe his intent was to harm you?
Yes, I wrote that.
And what is your basis for reaching that conclusion?
Well, he could have been charged with battery on a police officer, which would have been more severe. But I didn't think his intent was to hurt me, so I didn't charge him with that.
You testified today that one of the things you were concerned about was him not going over to your vehicle. Is that true?
Yes.
Will you agree with me that he actually did walk over to your vehicle at some point during the interaction?
Yes, but it wasn't reasonable, the amount of time it took him.
What would be a reasonable amount of time?
asking him to step in front of my car and then doing so immediately.
And how fast is it immediately?
This isn't based off of time by response, it's just based off of interaction. I had to tell him he was detained multiple times. I made it clear what he was detained for. I said he was detained for obstructing. I gave him several commands to step in front of my car. So I would think a reasonable person would walk over to my car and then we'd have a conversation there.
And how specifically did his presence obstruct your ability to complete the traffic stop?
Again, I don't know what his intention is. I don't know if he's armed. All I saw was him recording, which again, I had no issue with. I told him I had no issue with. At some point in time, if I were to issue a citation to the driver, my focus would be on the driver and what's inside her car. At that point, I hadn't pulled her out. I hadn't pat her down. I don't know if she has any weapons in the car or what her intent was, if there was anything underlying. So my intention on having DeCastro back up was so that I didn't have split attention. He was too close for me to have split attention.
So what are the things you stated that you were concerned about, I guess, from a safety point of view, was that he didn't identify himself? Is that true?
No, I didn't care about his identity until I had him detained.
Okay. At any point during the, I guess, detention of the defendant, did you pat him down to determine he didn't have any weapons?
I did.
Okay, and when was that during the duration of the interaction?
That was immediately after handcuffing.
Okay, did you discover any weapons on him?
No, I did not.
From your police car, while he's walking up, you can essentially have a complete view of his movements and what he's doing at that point in time.
Yes.
And you never saw him during that time period before you got out of your car and reached for any weapons or anything like that?
No.
Were there other individuals around the traffic stop other than the defendant and the driver?
Not that I can remember.
Do you recall anyone walking through the scene and asking about the restaurant next door?
I don't remember that.
But your testimony is if there was someone else on the video, you would have been ordering that person to back up 21 feet.
I would have first asked them to back up, and most people do. And then if they did not comply, then I would give them a specific area to back up to.
You ordered him not to speak to the driver, is that correct?
Yes, well, I remember asking them to back up. I don't remember if I specifically asked them not to speak to the driver. I think I may have said, don't talk to her, or something to that effect.
Did he speak to her before you got out of your patrol vehicle or afterwards?
Before. I saw DeCastro filming, I stayed in my vehicle, continued my business. Then when I saw him speaking to the driver, that's when I exited.
Did you see him speak to the driver after you exited the vehicle at any point?
I don't remember if he spoke to the driver after I exited.
At any point, did you hear specifically what he may have said to the driver?
No, I was too far away and it was windy.
Is your position that anytime you're engaged in a traffic stop, nobody can speak to the driver?
They can speak to them at a reasonable distance.
And is that 21 feet?
It could be shorter, it could be longer. It, again, depends on the environment, totality, the circumstances.
Do you think people can easily verbally communicate at 21 feet?
No, not without shouting.
Did at some point the defendant inform you that he was a member of the press?
He did.
Did that influence any of the orders you chose to give or not give to the defendant?
No, it doesn't matter.
Why does it not? What is your basis of that statement, I guess?
Media, reporters, and standard citizens, they treat them all the same.
So you becoming aware that somebody is a member of the press does not affect your decision-making in reference to your First Amendment training?
No, and how was I to know that he was a member of the press? Whenever I interact with members of the press, they usually identify what station they're with or a group that they're with. They usually have some sort of identification, name badge, and we have a good relationship with press out here. They don't approach us the way that DeCastro did.
Are you familiar with the difference between traditional press or independent media?
Yes, but again, independent media would approach us more respectfully than DeCastro.
Is your opinion that traditional media has different rights than new media, independent media?
Objection, Your Honor. At this point, I think we're well beyond the scope of.
Sustained.
Thank you.
And court's indulgence, I apologize. So your testimony is, if I recall correctly, that you received First Amendment training when you initially went through your officer training.
Yes.
And then you received one follow-up after that.
I can't, no, it was more than one. I don't know exactly how many. Typically that training is annual.
And your testimony, just to reiterate, this is the first time you've experienced a First Amendment issue of this nature in your career?
Objection. I believe I objected to that question when it was posed as a violent encounter and it was sustained. And I also objected on the grounds of relevance. As the court indicated, what we're concerned about is his interaction with the defendant specifically. And so I object.
Sustained, I'm only concerned about this interaction.
Do you recall during your interactions with the defendant that you told him that you believed First Amendment auditors often pull out guns and shoot people?
I didn't say that they often do that.
Do you recall what you said?
I don't. I would have said that he was a stranger to me and that officers get ambushed all the time. It could have been a First Amendment auditor. It could have been a regular citizen. It could have been a cook from one of the places nearby. I wouldn't have specifically said that First Amendment auditors are a higher risk.
And again, just to reiterate, your testimony is that
Objection. I mean, anytime it's prefaced as just to reiterate, I feel like I should object on an asked and answered grounds. And I'm not just to hear it, but it just sounds like a reiteration of the questions that have been previously asked. So my objection is asked and answered.
I'm going to ask this question before I rule on the objection.
again, I'm just trying to clarify because I think this point was ambiguous, but do you recall the defendant telling you that he was a member of the press during the interaction?
Ask and answer.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You redirect?
No. Thank you.
Thank you, officer. You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Officer,
Stand by the Andy room, please.
is the state rest?
At this point, we do.
Does the defense have any witnesses?
There we go. State rests. One witness. That's all you need.
All those to Castro.
Oh, good Lord. Here we go. Let's get ready for stupid.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. Castro, before you testify, I'm obligated to inform you that you have the right to testify in this proceeding, but you also have the right to remain silent. And should you choose to remain silent, I may not hold that against you in making my decision. Do you understand that?
I do.
Do you still wish to testify?
Yes, I do.
All right, please go ahead.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do.
Can you give some insight into what that channel was about?
Objection, relevance.
What's the relevance?
Do you have a warrant in Ohio?
Your Honor, the relevance is that we're presenting a First Amendment defense, and the defendant is a member of the press. There's different standards for First Amendment rulings where there's public policy at issue. He can give insight into that.
I'm gonna allow it for a bit and see where it goes.
Yes, I do have I do have a YouTube channel, and the reason I have a YouTube channel is because
It
of
sucks.
how many cops kill people every year, how many cops hurt, maim, torture, rape, and kill people every single year. It's such an epidemic that the rest of the world, I get thousands of emails saying, only in America does this happen. I started filming cops because when I was cheated in 2002.
Objection at this point, relevance,
Well, this is the British being a member of the press.
this narrative.
So can you ask him a question?
Yes, Your Honor. What type of films do you make for your YouTube channel?
I only film police in their official capacity. I'm known across the country and across the world.
And why do you engage in that type of filming?
So I'm gonna ask you, Mr. Mead, to direct your questions about the incident in question.
The reason I was filming this report that day.
Objection, Your Honor. Oh, sorry.
So
There wasn't a question posed, so
Oh, I-
I'm not sure what he was.
Mr. DeCastro, on the day in question, why did you approach that vehicle?
I was filming that cop because that's what I do for a living. I am a member of the press. And I invoked my right to be press. I always invoke my right to be press within the first 10 seconds of engaging with police. And I have thousands of videos that prove this.
So this is how you make money.
This is not how specifically I make money. I make money from selling legal documents to people.
Trifolds and jack
Do
socks.
you recall the officer telling you to back up?
Yes, I do.
And what did you do after he told you to back up?
I took a couple steps back. I just showed him that I was willing to back up a little bit. However, if I may, in Arizona, they created a 10-foot wall.
Objection, relevance, we're not in Arizona, it's the state of Nevada.
So I'm gonna allow it because I think that goes to why he kept saying 10 feet in the video, even though I will take judicial notice that you're not in the state of Arizona, you're in the state of Nevada.
Well, a federal judge struck it down, Your Honor, and what,
Stop. Can you ask me a question?
Yes, Your Honor. Approximately how many feet did you back up?
I backed up a foot or two. I was at least 10 feet away from that car that the driver was pulled over in.
And when you spoke to the driver, what did you say?
Just after she was okay. The reason I film police is because they abuse people so often.
Do you recall the officer telling you not to speak with the driver?
Yes,
And did you make any statements to the driver after that command was given?
absolutely not.
Did the officer ever give you a specific distance to back up to?
No, he didn't.
If he did, would you have complied with that?
Sure.
Did you believe you were complying with the officer's commands?
100%. I also informed him I'm a member of the press. I'm a constitutional law scholar. That this is what I do.
Do you recall the officer explaining to you why he decided to arrest you?
There's several parts to the reason why he said he was going to arrest me. He said he was going to arrest me because I wouldn't turn my head a certain direction. If I didn't turn and face the car with my head, that he would place me under arrest instead of just giving me a ticket.
Do you recall him explaining why he decided to detain you before he arrested you?
He decided to obtain me because he said I was obstructing, which from my understanding is a physical act where I would have to get in the way. He said that the driver deserved privacy. I believe my First Amendment rights are not up for feelings.
Did he explain to you that the basis of your detention was related primarily to the issue of privacy or the issue of you backing up?
Well, I think from the officer's testimony, we can see that he's scared of the driver, scared of me, scared of everything. They teach them to be afraid of everything. So I had 2 cameras out. It's identified as a member of the press. I'm sorry, repeat the question. I want to get it specific for the record.
Sure. The question was, did the officer explain to you that the basis of your detention was because of you not backing up or because of the privacy issue of the driver?
It was both. He said that, he told me to back up. I backed up a little bit. Then he said, she deserves privacy. And then I told him to go get in your car, little doggy, and write your ticket. And at that point, his face turned beet red and his veins in his neck stuck out because we were over 20 feet away. And you had to holler to hear each other because the wind was probably 30 miles an hour.
Did you at any point attempt to hit any of the officers involved?
No, absolutely not.
Did you intentionally swat any of the officers?
Absolutely not. He was giving me unlawful commands. I should not have been detained after identifying him in the press.
What have I missed there?
Years. So it's just a natural reaction as I'm retreating from somebody. If I may have put my hand up, as he said, as he testified himself, I certainly am a law-abiding citizen. I don't break the law. So I would not have tried to assault an officer under any circumstances.
Is it possible that during the interaction there was inadvertent contact between the officer?
Sure, he decided to go hands-on with me when he was giving me unlawful commands. And there was absolutely no reason for it. I was willing to comply with anything he asked within reason, because I don't want to have a fist fight with another man on the street.
Do you recall the officer ordering you to go to his patrol vehicle?
I do.
And what did you do in response to that?
Initially, I told him no, but then when he began to get physical with me and start to grab me and touch me, I said, okay, I'll go over to your car. His car was 35 feet away. I then led him to his car. It's on video, you can see it. I would walk right up to his car, and then he insisted still on grabbing me. After he saw me pull out an additional phone, which that's what press people do. We have lots of cameras on us.
Press people?
Did you inform the officer that you were a member of the press?
Oh, several times. It's in the transcripts. I've transcribed them myself. Several times I told him I'm a member of the press.
And did you explain to the officer that you have a background in constitutional law?
Yes, I told him I'm a constitutional law, which is a moniker given to me by other people who are also, they have their own channels, their own press. And that's what some other lawyers on another channel called me 3 years ago. And I since adapted the moniker.
Constitutional scholar.
And just to get some, I guess, further background, were you looking for police to report on this particular day?
No, the cops hide on the side of the road to pull people over. It's pretty regular in our country. I was just in the parking lot there. I saw that Mr. Bork had somebody pulled over, concerned for her safety. I began to film.
And why do you think that law enforcement traffic stops are relevant to the public?
That's where most people get killed.
Objection relevance. Stating that question, which is right.
Stating.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
I have no questions for this witness. Thank you.
Sir, you may step down.
Oh, she didn't cross-examine him?
This is defense trust.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, he was awful.
Your
I'm
Honor,
sorry I had to miss it.
Asked you to find the defendant guilty of both the obstructing a public officer as well as resisting a public officer charged against him. The video very adequately portrays, and I don't think it's disputed by the defendant, what the context was of the interaction with the officer. I would venture to say that had the defendant just complied with the original order to not engage with the driver and to back up, we wouldn't be here. He wouldn't have found himself further engaging with Officer Moore. This is not a First Amendment issue. As you heard over and over and over again on video, Officer Ford did not have a problem with the defendant recording. It's not a First Amendment issue. It's an officer safety issue. Here you have an officer who conducted a lawful traffic stop. You saw the nature of the stop. There was no animosity between the officer and the driver. It was rather peaceful. They were engaged, banter back and forth. He would have, as he testified, he was trying to determine whether he was going to cite her or let her go with a warning. And then you have an individual, the defendant, introduce himself to the situation. Traffic stops, Your Honor, are inherently dangerous, particularly in crowded parking lots. I guess anywhere, I would venture to say. This officer was reasonable in thinking that anyone who would approach in the manner that the defendant approached his scene would have a reason to fear for his safety, or at least be suspicious of this individual's motives coming in. The officer had no problem with the recording. The officer had no problem with the defendant.
Well, hello.
It was when he inserted himself into this lawful detention that was occurring with the Hyundai driver that the officer turned his attention onto the defendant. This is not a First Amendment issue. This is an individual who took his what he perceived to be his rights.
So I take it that was his
well
defense?
within his right, as
Yeah.
well as acting
First Amendment as a
reasonably,
journalist.
back up. That 21-foot rule, if it's.
This guy actually acted as his
He
attorney.
said that was the training that they received.
Oh yeah, how'd the attorney
in
do?
terms of the distance that's allowed for someone who needs to.
Not great, but he didn't have anything.
Threat
Yeah.
assessment.
Have anything to work with? Yeah.
Not a damn
been-
thing.
I've been there.
Gun concealed, whether he had a knife concealed, whether he had other weapons. And you'll hear multiple times in the video, Officer Bork yelling, "Stop reaching, stop reaching." This is an unknown, when defense counsel asked Officer Bork all of these questions about how it is that you do this, and Officer Bork kept responding, it depends on the situation, it depends on the totality of the circumstances. Here was an officer acting alone, individually, engaged one-to-one with a driver. He had no problem with it. You insert another individual who enters the scene in the manner that the defendant did. And now this officer's attention is going to be divided.
Well, thank you,
into fear for
Knight of
his
Me.
as well as that of the driver. Again, if he had just complied with the officer's commands or demands to back up, and a lot was made about, hey, he didn't have an opportunity to tell the defendant exactly how far back. As the officer testified, even just with the, hey, back up, the defendant didn't back up, not willingly. That's why the officer had to continue to engage.
Do you know this prosecutor, Ben?
Force him.
Oh yeah. Yes, I've dealt with Agnes before.
Had he complied, he would not have been charged with obstruction. Had he complied initially, he would not have been charged with the resisting. The officer was, you are going to have to assess. There's nothing in the video or Officer Bork's testimony that would cause the court to question his veracity or his intention for that matter. He was very honest in that he didn't believe the defendant wasn't trying to harm him necessarily with the SWAT. That's why the defendant wasn't charged with the battery on a or police officer. But that SWAT, Your Honor, I would argue, was meant to resist. At that point in time, the officer was trying to detain him and subsequently arrest him on the obstruction, as depicted in the video. And so at this point, I think we've proved by beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant did hinder Officer Bork's investigation and detention of the Hyundai driver, and that he resisted the officer's arrest and or attempt to arrest him. And so we would ask that you find the defendant guilty of both. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor. So first of all, you cannot obstruct an unlawful order. I disagree with the state that this is not.
It's who married? Agnes or the judge?
The First Amendment in this context actually has two parts. There's the filming and the right to film within a reasonable distance. The case law in all the federal circuits, Your Honor, there's no 21 feet rule that's been approved by any court of which I'm aware. That there is a 10-foot rule. That seems to be the rule that is applied by most of the federal circuits in interpreting the First Amendment.
All right. Do you know this guy, Ben?
I see a bench brief that kind of goes through that issue.
Sort of. He's kind of new, I believe. He's
It was
Oh,
submitted
thank you,
yesterday.
Susan. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I would move to strike because it.
I think he might have come from some other jurisdiction. He's.
I got it this morning when I walked into court.
Go ahead.
So the officer's testimony to that, there's essentially this 21-foot
All right.
distance where anybody can charge an officer and
I need a sugar mama, so
an officer. If that is applied universally, Your Honor,
I'll send out my
totally,
PayPal.
diminishes and violates the First Amendment. That is, as the officer testified, a 21-foot radius that he can attempt to impose. I believe his testimony was anytime there's not an obstacle between a person and somebody that law enforcement is interacting with. And that's just not what the law requires, Your Honor. The First Amendment gives their media, new media, old media, it gives individuals the right to film government agents. There's no dispute that that's the requirement. And if the officer is applying this 21-foot circumference to all law enforcement interactions, he's effectively eliminated the ability to film law enforcement going about their duties. The commands to not talk to the driver are also not based on any actual legal justification. There's no right to privacy in public, whether you're engaged with law enforcement or not. There's no requirement or no statute, no law that citizens can't interact with drivers that are interacting with law enforcement. So what's taken place here, Your Honor, is that this officer has taken it upon himself to essentially act as the legislature and created these rules that have no basis in any law and in fact are contrary to the First Amendment. Again, you can't obstruct an unlawful demand, so there is no obstruction of justice here. Resisting arrest, Your Honor, the court can see the video. Essentially what happened is he walked over to the front of the vehicle. There was some dispute about why he was being detained. That was discussed. The case law in that area, Your Honor, is that if it's an unlawful arrest, which it was in this case because they're essentially arresting him for violating these unlawful orders that they're pronouncing. Again, the case law is you can passively resist an unlawful arrest, and that's all that occurred. Thank you.
All right, Mr. DeCastro, please stand. The problem with the argument that your attorney makes is it completely fails to consider the safety of the officer and the safety of the driver. The officer doesn't know who you are, and the driver doesn't know who you are.
He's famous. Didn't he say he was world famous?
With that officer.
Or that earlier video you were watching?
Oh, yeah.
He wants to issue a
He
ticket
thinks
to this
so.
driver. And you also don't have any business.
So that's on the officer.
The driver didn't ask you for help.
Not knowing who he is.
Say, help, you know. You didn't see an altercation happening between the officer and this driver. The officer didn't protest that you were filming. There's no problem with filming. You can film, it's fine,
Oh man.
right? But you did interfere with his investigation. You did interfere with his ability to do his job. You
I'll stick with
did
Kim.
put him in a position where he is concerned for his safety and the safety of the driver. So I believe the state's met their burden beyond reasonable doubt. I'm going to find you guilty of obstructing a public officer and resisting a public officer. So I'd
Love
like
it.
to hear from the state and then your attorney prior to sentencing.
That's a guilty.
Your Honor, in terms of sentencing, I would ask the defendant enter into an impulse control class. I would ask that the court levy a $500 fine or the equivalent in community service. I would ask that the defendant be ordered to stay out of trouble for the pendency of the case. And I would ask for a 90-day suspended sentence.
90 days suspended?
90 days suspended, $500 fine, or equivalent of community service and impulse control. That's it.
That's the ask.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the crime of the century.
How does he end up in jail? We'll find out.
That's why you're the
Your
grand
Honor,
showman
the
there.
court to sentence the defendant to credit for time served for these offenses.
Stay tuned.
Even if the court concludes and the court did conclude
Hashtag
that he didn't have the right
foreshadowing.
to do what he did, I think the court can see that he sincerely believed that he had the right to do so. That's based on his past experiences and the training he's received in reference to the First Amendment. I don't think there's any intent from the defendant to engage in any wrongdoing in this case, Your Honor. And that being the case, especially because of the public policy interests at issue.
So when you say he doesn't wish to engage in any wrongdoing, it seems to me from observing him in the video that he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get into an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called and he's nodding his head up and down. So apparently he hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right, please stand up, sir. Are you finished?
Oh, he's giving a thumbs up?
Yep.
What an
I would just
Not
emphasize,
smart.
Your Honor, that the defendant testified and he sincerely believes that he is providing a public service.
Yeah, try to dig him out of that.
That's all you got, dude.
I understand the court may have a different view of that, but when we're talking about First Amendment public policy issues such
Well, we're not
as,
done yet. Lisa, hold on.
supervising people
But wait,
involved
there's
in
more.
government, I think that is something the court can take.
That's the
into
prosecutor's
consideration.
ask.
Let's go on, Your Honor.
The judge isn't bound by that.
Castro, please stand. I hereby sentence you to 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 1, 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 2, to run consecutive for a total of 180 days in custody. Thank you.
90 consecutive.
Suspended or?
Oh, no.
September.
Oh no. Oh no, it's a suspended jackwagon.
Woo. Nah, he'll get out July.
Oh,
So it'll be
so satisfying. So satisfying.
unless he. Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to burn good time credit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he
There
might
might be some
actually end up doing.
adjustments. Here's some cuffs adjustment. They gave him double cuffs. They're still being nice to him.
Can I get my keys off? The keys for them. I'll get your stuff.
There we go.
Get hold of my assistant, James.
Perp walk him out of there now. Perfect. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, not wise to give the thumbs up there at the. Man.
Read the
Well,
judge.
I cut the end of it.
She did not make her mood a mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, to her credit, we're going back and forth. She's listening to it, but she tipped her hand where she was.
Right.
And you want to poke the bear? Poke the bear.
Oh, he poked the bear and got.
I like her.
Got the bear claw. Yeah. Like I said,
I
no,
like
Judge Zimmerman's she's good. Like I said, she's good. She's got a good demeanor. I think. I mean, she's got a sense of humor too. But yeah, she doesn't. Like I said earlier, she does not suffer fools. So
she
didn't
didn't say
gonna,
anything.
be acting the thumbs up and that sort of thing. Yeah, that.
She didn't like him calling the officers pigs, and then he doubles down and does the thumbs up.
Yeah.
The thumbs up was the triple down.
Yeah.
Because he was nodding his head when she first said it, and she's like, "Okay, I've had enough." 90 consecutive. That's not maxing. I think she could.
No.
What on those? It was like an obstruction. I don't know. I guess she could have done 180, 180.
She could have done 180 flat time consecutive. So that would have been.
That would have been max.
Yeah, that would have been 360 days in jail.
But he got hit with a big stick for a misdemeanor, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's rare. I mean, that's why the DA, I think, was just asking for the. I mean, that would be normal. That would be a normal, honestly, an offer, on something like this. I mean, I know it's not the whatever.
Yes, but he's
not
so
the most serious
obnoxious.
crime, but yes, he did not do himself any favors. I'm sure. I know.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Really, it was perfect.
Yes,
it was perfect.
Been
Look at that! You still have sun out there, my man.
Yeah.
Is it warm?
My new house. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice out here.
Fresh house. All right.
I just moved.
I got to come back out and see it.
Yeah. I don't even know where the light is, but you see, look, I even have a pool there. I can't.
Ben's like, I can't wait to hear you after a couple of cocktails again. That'll be super.
So yeah, here I would show you what I've been. Yes, why I wasn't on earlier.
All right, we're getting a Ben house tour. I love it.
Oh yeah, here we go. My phone here, if you can even see. Oh.
When are we firing up the channel?
All the upstairs. Yes.
What's
all the upstairs carpet gone.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yes, that's why I couldn't be with you earlier. But I did. I told you I made it before the tail end.
Gotcha.
So,
you're dealing with some carpet.
So yes. And so if anyone wants to donate, since now that I'm broke, Mike has agreed to match any donations. That was so generous.
Back up.
I'd just rather you match their donations. So thank you everyone for that.
I will steal them.
Yes, let me send my don't send it. Don't do super chats. Yes. Benerby@gmail is my PayPal email address there.
Oh, that was a beautiful thing. You know, it would have been good if you got assigned that case. No. I was pulling for that.
No.
But
I got assigned to Chile. You're killing me.
Chile to get Chile and Kim would be one hell of a career.
Yes, that I don't know what else I need to.
Everyone's asking you. I know. I get it. You represent them or whatever. I will say I've had email contact, and I certainly know Kim better. Yes. Kim is off his rocker from a legal standpoint. However, he is a much nicer person, in my estimation.
I get that impression. Like I said, I don't know Chile. I never met him, but
he's much less mean spirited. He gets out there, but generally his baseline is a much nicer person. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I would agree with that opinion.
All right, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It made it even worse because it took forever to do this, but you came on and looked it up. So I'm like, okay, so I know he gets convicted. I know he gets time, and I'm like, I got to see how it happens.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I knew how long the video was, and I'm like, he's going to take the stand, but he didn't testify that long.
Yeah.
And then the prosecution, they played the video, which was awful because it had feedback in court, and one witness, and then I think the prosecutor was wise. There was no reason to cross-examine him. He did nothing to further his defense. Why he testified? Nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't really hurt it. He didn't help it. It was just irrelevant.
Just all I heard was he doesn't have to obey an unlawful command. Well.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I may have missed some super chats at the end, but thank you all for coming out. That was a wild one. I will see you all soon.